Breakdowns in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff, coming soon to a station near you. One show. One mission.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Coming soon to a
Conley's
station.
foul shot. Missing it on purpose, no good rebound. Taken down by Irvin, and it's over! And the Mavericks break the schneid in Game 1. They finally win a Game 1 under Jason Kidd, and only the second Game 1 victory for them in their last 14 Game 1s.
That was Chuck Cooperstein on Mavs Radio. Dallas takes Game 1, and I was actually encouraged by Minnesota here. I think they're definitely rebounding to make this a series. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You did not see it this way.
Yeah, I like that. I like Dallas coming in, and I don't think that Minnesota's going to have the answers. You need answers to stop Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are. I'll tell you right now, Minnesota doesn't have them. This was their game to win. They were leading in the fourth quarter, ran out of gas, and then Luka, you could see him all night, just poking and prodding and figuring out this team, and then, man, did he figure them out at the end. I just think they're older players. Kyrie has been here millions of times. I think the older, more poised team is going to win this. And just the fact that Dallas got that one on the road, which they could have lost, to me, said I don't want to say the word over, but I feel even more confident that Dallas is going to win this 5 or 6.
Man, interesting. I didn't see it that way. It was impressive what Dallas did down the stretch, no doubt about it. But I thought it was more about what you said. There was like an Anthony Edwards clear running out of gas here.
Definitely.
And partly because he's chasing around Kyrie Irving all game, and that's really hard. However, that's something that is not going to last. You know, he's a young player who's going to find his legs again. They were coming off of this incredible Game 7 and that long series, but he's not 30. He's 22. You know, he's going to be able to find his legs. I do not think that he's injured because he's still, it's not like he's limping out there. It doesn't look like he looks tired. He doesn't look physically compromised. And it was bad shooting nights from him and from Karl Anthony Towns. I also didn't think that the Mavericks were so much more composed than Minnesota. Minnesota missed some shots rather, but the Mavericks had some moments at the end of the game, Perloff, where they could have easily given this game away. It was not so one-sided where the Mavericks were like the clear veteran team and Minnesota was out there making silly mistakes.
God, it's so funny. I understand what you're saying. There were some near turnovers at the end, but the overall vibe to me was Luka had total control of the game by the end. Like he went wherever he wanted to go with the ball, he was there.
Yeah.
Had no fear of Jaden McDaniels as a defender late in the game. Early in the game, McDaniels was good. But I'm not sure what Minnesota does because everything Minnesota tries, there's a downside. Get Rudy Gobert more involved. Well, he has a lot of downsides. You know, I'm not sure that they're going to have an answer because this is not just one bad game in a row for Anthony Edwards. Like he's really, he was really bad in the Game 7 for most of the game. Couldn't hit a shot.
Yeah.
And the game before that, he wasn't good. Like it's been a long time since his 40-point games. His legs seem to be done. Maybe it's this young NBA player Wall. Do you really see him like rebounding and scoring 45 in this series? He's scared. That's the wrong word.
Yeah.
He is definitely feeling those tall Dallas defenders. I don't see him being able to carry this team. If it's not Anthony Edwards, where are they going to get enough offense to knock out Luka and Kyrie?
Well, I think that's also going to be incumbent on the rest of the team, and other players on the Timberwolves are going to have to take some more of these defensive assignments here. And McDaniels can do that. Jaden McDaniels is good, but he was on Luka for a lot of the night, as you mentioned, which means somebody's got to be on Kyrie. But if there's a way, you got to be able to steal, especially in these middle games in the series. If you expect this thing to go 6 or 7, you've got to find a way to spread out that load defensively on these two incredible players so that you can still have a little something for the offensive side. And let's hear from Anthony Edwards, can we? Pete said that he was a step slow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, y'all can see it was a step behind everybody, especially myself. Kyrie got a transition layup from, I think we scored, and he just outran me, and I was just exhausted, man. So, yeah, for sure. But we'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, he's right about that. Kyrie Irving looks so fast, even today. It's like he hasn't lost a step at all, scoring off of makes and transition. Anthony Edwards also said the T-Wolves, he admits they're tired.
We came out flat today. I mean, and then we found our energy, then we went back to being flat. So I think it was just on us. Everything was on us today. I didn't get downhill as much. Yeah, just stuff like that. We was just a little tired probably.
Yeah, a little tired. And again, this is a young team that I'm not expecting to like feel this fatigue for the entire series. And I think he's absolutely right. And again, I'll go back to 2 missed threes from Karl Anthony Towns and a putback dunk that got called for goaltending that would have tied the game at, I think, 104. And those are 3 moments. I'm not placing this all on Towns, but those are just 3 easy moments that would have completely changed this.
I mean, first of all, Karl Anthony Towns hit 2 covered threes. Those were not easy threes. That's not, if that's their offense where Karl Anthony Towns takes a dribble with a guy on him and hits a 3, that's not an offense. That's not going to work. I look at it the other way. Like Dallas's role players were not really hitting their shots. What if they start to hit their shots? And Luka's just going to get healthier. Like Luka's obviously dealing with 2 knee issues. He seems to be getting better and better and better, and did as the game went on. I think this was the time to catch Dallas. And honestly, I just don't know what to do about Luka, because I just don't think they match up great with him. I think Denver would have had a much better time with this Dallas team, ironically.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota just feels like, oh man, Dallas has all the answers for what we need. To me, like they're not scared of Cat. They're not scared of Gobert, obviously. And Anthony Edwards is just whatever. Doesn't have it anymore.
I don't know if it's any more, though. Like, I can't be willing to write this guy off. We're talking about
I just look at it's 4 games in a row where he has not hit 30. I mean,
okay, but again, on the defensive side, he's definitely still a factor. He's definitely guarding the best or second best player on the other team. He's still taking on that assignment.
But
he was
wait,
really
when Dallas got hot in the 4th quarter, where was he on defense?
He was gassed. He was like literally hanging in the corner, and he was still covering Kyrie. He was chasing him all around, but he was just so tired.
Yeah.
And again, that might sound like excuse making. I see Caps in the chat. He's like, he's 22. I know, but that's why I think they're going to rebound from that. I mean, they're going to coming off of this long series. I just cannot count them out yet. I cannot.
So what happens if it's game 2?
Also, they lost games on their home floor against Denver too, and it didn't faze them.
Game 2, it's 4th quarter. What are they going to do about Luka? Just give me an answer then.
I don't know. But
Craig,
that's for Chris Finch.
They have
It's not for me.
That's for Chris Finch in the 2nd row. I don't know. I think this was their chance. And they're tired. They're going to get less tired as the series goes on. Why is that?
Well, again, I think they're young. I know Mike Conley, Towns, like they're not. Anthony Edwards is not going to be gassed the whole series. Yeah.
I don't know why he's going to all of a sudden find his second wind when I feel like Dallas is honestly going to get stronger and stronger, more confident.
The question, can Minnesota rebound from this loss? I think that's one of the also good things about a team that, you know, they're not sounding like they're too intimidated. And I know it's like brave face. What are they going to say? We're not going to go run and hide. But they're looking at it like, hey, we just missed some shots. And they started making some shots in the 4th quarter, and that was just the difference. They're not looking at it like, oh, gosh, it was this overwhelming advantage that tipped the scales. It was like, no, it was a great player in Luka closing down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, what if Dallas starts to hit their threes? I mean, Dallas was terrible.
They were terrible from 3.
They were terrible from 3. What if they go back to their average? Like, then that's a big... I mean, also, Minnesota did miss a lot of foul shots. That's disturbing as well. But what if Dallas all of a sudden gets... Like, remember last series, P.J. Washington all of a sudden became like Larry Bird. What if that happens again? Yeah. I think this was a game that they had to win, to me.
Dallas, 6 for 25 from 3.
Yeah, and
to still win that game, Minnesota 18 for 49. EJ, what?
I mean, that's the game that Minnesota's going to play, right? Like, we could talk about how great Luka Doncic was. They kind of held him to his averages. Kyrie had a crazy first half, so that was probably what they did not expect.
Right.
But
mostly 2s, though. That's Kyrie's game. Like, he's not going to hurt them.
A lot of transition baskets.
Kyrie will kill you on 3. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't last night. I'm saying, right. All 2s. So they'll give up some of that.
Yeah, I mean, but he had a lot. Last night he was living in the pain as well. But like, I think that's the game, right? Like, they lost this game, and we could talk about Minnesota not doing enough against Luka, not playing too much drop coverage. But the numbers are not bad in terms of overall. I mean, you gave him
30 points on 23 shots, 33 points on 26 shots
overall,
for Luka.
He gave him 108 points. Like, I think Minnesota would live with that. I think the problems stemmed more with offense. Like, Anthony Edwards shot 6 for 16, and they were able to survive that Nuggets series with, despite Edwards, as Perloff saying, kind of struggling down the end. I don't know if they could survive him continue to play that way in this series.
Well, and Towns was 6 for 20.
Oh, it's a great matchup.
Guys, you can't win like that.
Yeah, it's a great matchup, though. This Derrick Jones Jr. guy, like, how long are his arms? I don't know physically. Like, it feels like he's a 6'5", well, I don't know if he's 6'6" or 6'5", who plays like a 7-footer. He just, like, he clearly has Ant's number. And we knew that coming in. Everyone was talking about Derrick Jones Jr. finding this defensive life. So that's why I'm saying it's just a great matchup all in all for Dallas and Minnesota. That's why I really like Dallas. I mean, honestly, I hope you guys are right and this goes 7 games and this is wild. But I just think that Denver would have been a much harder challenge for Dallas, where just Dallas is the wrong team for Minnesota to play right now.
Do you realize, I was thinking about this as I was driving in this morning. I'm like, man, so Minnesota drops this game. And if they lose this series, and let's say they lose it in 5, I don't think they're going to get swept. If they lose it in 5, gentleman sweep. And I've got to eat that disgusting lime jello tuna fish thing, and they don't even show up in the next round, in this round. That's going to add so much more, like, insult to what I have to do.
Oh.
Like, I caught a glimpse of myself in my rearview mirror as I was just thinking about what I'm going to be eating, and my face was just a mangled, like, twisted, knotted, just, I do not want to eat this. And it's going to make it worse if the Minnesota Timberwolves get smacked around in this series because I lost that bet because I bet Denver in the last series.
Well, it sounds like you have faith in Minnesota's chances here. I might be willing to negotiate a double or nothing situation because I'm up 1-0. It gives me a big advantage.
Give me a parachute, please. I do not want to do this.
But I'm just trying to think, what is this is the ultimate torture for you. What is double the torture?
You have to eat it twice. Let's do that.
Two times or
no,
2 days? No, 2 days. 2 days. One day, you eat it one day, and then you got to do it the next day.
No.
No, that's not good.
No.
It's got to be way worse.
It's not good. That's literally
it's pretty good on the spot. I do like that.
No, you got to eat the whole show.
No.
Oh, you have to eat the entire casserole.
Yes.
No, that I'm not doing. No. I will not.
I see. No, I don't.
Minnesota better show up. Well, they did show up last night, and I actually do feel confident. And this is nothing about the lime jello with the tuna fish and the green olives and all this disgusting stuff I have to eat. But it would pain me double if they just meekly go away.
All right, I offered it out.
Can't do it. Can't do that. I can't eat it the whole thing. I can't eat it during the whole show.
I prefer a second totally gross food that you hate instead of.
Wow. This brought Bogush in early.
Yeah.
Wow. And here you come 12 minutes into the show.
Yeah, not even headphones.
Hi.
I say like a true double or nothing. You have to eat the bowls, the
Rocky Mountain oysters?
Well, or nothing.
Oh, there we go. Look
who's using the brain early this morning.
I mean, it's not bad.
All right. See, I've eaten Rocky Mountain oysters before. I just didn't care for them. I think it's deep.
You shouldn't have said that, man.
Oh, sorry.
That lessens a blow.
Oh, you had a
Wait a
chance
minute.
to get out of this.
I'm going to do it. I'll take it. I'll do the double or nothing.
So, but there's a caveat.
No. Wait. I'm not just agreeing willy-nilly.
I get to decide how the Rocky Mountain oysters are prepared.
Well, there's got to be some safety to it, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not eating raw.
I know they're supposed to be eating. I know they're supposed to be eating mostly deep fried.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other safety.
There's no
by the way,
ceviche when it comes to bulls testing.
Pete, you noticed this when I had to eat the Rocky Mountain oysters, and Maggie said, I will decide how they're prepared. EJ didn't say anything about safety.
He knows that I wouldn't hang you out to dry like that.
Oh, and I'm going to make you eat some raw.
It'd be like jerky, maybe, or some kind of smoked situation, or
actually,
deep fried.
that sounds way worse. Jerky?
Ugh, I know.
I mean, oh, God. Okay, I'll give you double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
And the Jell-O.
I mean, I feel good about this. Normally I would, but I have a game up on you. 1-0. Those shift the odds toward me gigantically.
I know. Well, I did this bet when you
were
also,
down 1-0.
I was down 1-0 because I really believed the Nuggets were coming all the way back. And they did, to their credit.
Oh, no,
you lost a game 7. Yeah, Minnesota was up. Remember, they won the first 2 on Denver's home floor.
You bet on
Denver when they were down 0-1.
Yes.
Now I'd be betting on Minnesota down 0-1.
What could go wrong?
Oh, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be great.
By the end of this, I feel like I'm gonna be like sitting in a vat of Vaseline
By the
or
end,
something.
Maggie's gonna be Anthony Bourdain by the end of this, trying like traveling the
Fear
world.
factor.
Yeah, by the end, you're gonna end up having to go to Nepal to eat some strange dish.
Climbing up Mount Everest to find like a little
Like,
leaf.
how much longer are these dumb NBA playoffs? My stomach can only handle so much.
It's like chipping ice off of Mount Everest just to. Daly
it's
said raw pickled Rocky Mountain oysters. Oh,
Perloff
boy.
will be doing the show from San Antonio. You'll be doing the show from the Himalayas.
Yeah. What is I'm trying?
Just get the sea salt.
I'm already thinking triple or nothing with Boston or Indiana. They must have gross foods too.
No, not doing it. Okay, let me take the break to think about it.
Okay. I'll give you, because I just watched the Mr. Beast video that you turned me on to.
Yeah.
I will give you 10 minutes to decide.
Okay.
10 minutes. By the time Andrew Bogut starts his update at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, you have to decide, am I going to do double or nothing?
Okay.
Eat the Rocky Mountain oysters in addition to the lime jello tuna casserole.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take that. I need 10 minutes to mull it over. People know Mr. Beast? I think they do. It's like
Do people know Mr. Beast? They don't know us. They know Mr. Beast. Do people know Mr. Beast? Do people know Joe Biden and Donald Trump? Yes, they know Mr. Beast.
Yes, he's like a YouTube sensation. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like
the
cultural
Maggie,
zeitgeist is very fractured. No one knows. We all don't know one thing.
I did not know this guy until his thing was on a Hornets uniform, his sponsor. That was
I didn't know him until
that's the first time I heard about
pretty
him.
recently either. And EJ's young. Like he's doing this for young people like EJ. Anyway, he put two people in a warehouse essentially, and they had two strangers, and they had to live together for 100 days, and they would get $500,000.
Right,
it was
that's
some
one
kind
of-
of psychological torture, basically.
that was one of many things.
Yes.
Yeah. We should be careful about mansplaining Mr. Beast because his videos get 450 billion views, and there's only 300 million people in this country. So I don't think we have to explain, but you could be right.
855-212-4227. So can Minnesota rebound from losing this game to the Dallas Mavericks would be the first question. That's your sports question. Your non-sports question, should I double or nothing on the tuna, jello, green olive, and add on a Rocky Mountain oyster?
Oh, no. I don't mean like, what if you had to put the Rocky Mountain oyster into the jello?
I thought about that, but I think that's a way out of
It's
this.
a cop-out.
Yeah.
You thought about that. You sick man.
I did. They doubled enough options. Once Bogus came with that one, I was like, what if you put it in? I was like, well, no, because there's only still one shot. It's only one bad experience. It needs to be two bad experiences in order for this to be a true double or nothing.
Okay. I'm thinking about it. 855-212-4227. Also in the chat, if you want to weigh in, we can see you guys. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet and ladies. Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. You can get in touch with us so many different ways. All right. Well, that just raised the stakes on this Thursday.
Things got interesting early here.
Curtis says Maggie will be eating meerkat before the finals are over.
One of those little guys pops out of the ground and you cut his head off and eat him? What? You don't eat meerkats.
3 weeks from now, Maggie's okay. So if the Pacers come back and win this, let me get out of this somehow.
Yeah. I'm quadruple or nothing. It's an elephant's foot that is deep fried chocolate sauce. All right.
I will eat an Indy 500 tire.
I mean,
wash it down with a little milk.
Listen, if you put the right sauce on the tire, it's not
I
bad.
do like black licorice. Well, I mean, it's not that far away.
Now that's a bet I wouldn't want to lose.
We'll
Black
keep that
for
in the
licorice.
back pocket. More Maggie and Perloff as I make this big decision. Come on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
One show.
2 minutes remaining.
One mission. Maggie and Perloff, coming soon to a station near you. One show. One mission.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Maggie and Perloff, coming soon to a station near you. One show. One mission. Maggie and Perloff, coming
1
soon
minute
to a station
remaining.
near you.
$45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is sponsored by the all-new Hyundai 2024 Santa Fe. Equipped for adventure with capable features like available H-Track all-wheel drive and standard third-row seating. All right, welcome back. Maggie Gray has an important decision right now. Could affect the rest of her life. I offered her double or nothing.
Fair.
She lost last round in a bet, Nuggets T-Wolves. I said if the T-Wolves win, then she has to eat a lime jello tuna concoction that we found on the internet that was somewhat associated with Minnesota. Now I'm offering her a double or nothing that she would also have to eat Rocky Mountain oysters, which was the stakes if I lost.
Right, for Denver.
So
Yep.
now you have to double up on the food challenge, but you have to take the T-Wolves who are down 1-0.
Yeah.
Are you what? So you have till 6:30 when Andrew Bogus starts his update to decide.
Yeah, I've even put it out like on the internet, like, help me. What should I do here? I'm so repulsed by the tuna lime jello green olive thing that I'm almost willing, even if I'm not totally convinced that Minnesota's going to come back and win the series, I'm almost just willing to do it, and I'll take the proverbial bullet of the Rocky Mountain oysters just because for a shot, just for a lottery ticket, as Nikki Glazer would say, for a lottery ticket of getting out of the tuna jello.
Okay.
So that's where my head's at right now. Like if you're offering me any kind of escape hatch to get out of the tuna jello, even if it ultimately escapes me like into an active volcano, I still want that shot.
You would risk your life to avoid lime jello tuna casserole.
I thought about it, and as I'm driving in today, I'm like, geez, when are we gonna do this? Like what's the date we're gonna pay it off? And I start going to the logistics of this bet, and I just couldn't get past it.
Yeah, well,
I'm so repulsed by it.
As I understand, you have thrown up. You've thrown up on air before?
I have, but that was because of the volume of food. I ate an entire large pizza in 2 hours, and I was just so full. I wasn't repulsed.
I think one bite of this, and you would throw up.
I think so, too. And now, if you're watching on our stream, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, which you might want to bookmark if I end up having to eat this stuff. Yeah. Andrew Kaplan has a picture of that lime jello. And by the way, he's got the pretty one. Like, he's got the green one that's, like, really nice, like, electric sort of green. Perloff wants me to eat some kind of brown jello one.
Yeah, the brown one's up now.
That one's up now, too.
Oh, God.
It's so awful looking. Why there are carrots in it?
I got to be honest, I would probably eat that.
Really?
Yeah. I like tuna fish.
This looks
I like
appealing
jello.
to you.
Put them all together. Yeah, it doesn't look that one. The one that's brown and half eaten is really disturbing.
It looks like cat food. So
part of the issue is that you don't like slimy foods. Like you don't like.
And you do?
Yeah, of course. Everyone. I like jello. I like pudding. I like flan. I like smoked salmon. Like all those are great foods.
Yeah.
And by the way, you look at me crazy. Most people like flan, Maggie. Your war against flan is not the standard.
No, I get it. I don't want the NFL to go to Madrid just because of that. No, I'm just kidding. I've been to Spain I've been lucky. I've been there a couple times. And
creme brulee is very popular. You don't like all these foods.
All right, so I've got 4 minutes to decide.
4 minutes.
I'm tempted to do it. This was the brainchild of Andrew Bogish, actually, who just walked into the studio again. Thank you for this double or nothing idea, because I needed something. A vine, as Jim Rome would say.
I mean, I don't thank me. Thank the other Andrew, who isn't even opening the door to you escaping all of this.
I know. Generous co-host that he is.
Oh.
Well, you also just
I
think that
I don't see them solving Luka Doncic. So, oh my God, there's something. Someone's suggesting another food that you have to eat.
What?
It is. I can't even look at this.
What? Why are you?
It
takes a lot for you to get
something called balut. Does anyone? It's a cooked egg, but the egg is already somewhat developed.
Oh no! No deal.
I couldn't.
Who eats this? I'm not even looking at it.
This can't be legal in America.
This is from. Yeah, I hope not.
I'm not doing that.
The chat has some sick ideas on the food front.
I'm not. No, I don't even want to look at that.
Yeah, don't.
I'm not going to.
Yeah, but actually, though, I'm telling you, a lot of people are getting fired up. Though this is this is an unpopular take about flan, Maggie.
Well, I'm gonna have to stand by it.
Yeah. I mean, stick to your guns on flan. I mean, there's going to be some feedback.
I'm sure this will also get the offensive line community mad at me all over again. Anytime you take out a food, 855-212-4227. Okay, so Bogish is here. He's got some headlines.
And is this the deadline?
I got 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Feel free to interrupt. Headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we can save you hundreds on your car insurance. Kyrie scored 24 points in the first half of Game 1 of the Western Conference Final. Then Luka scored 15 in the fourth quarter, and the Mavs took the opener in Minnesota 108-105. Kyrie finishing with an even 30.
We did something great tonight, but we didn't win the series, and we understand that. And we know that they're going to be highly motivated to beat us next game as they were tonight. But it just wasn't their night. It was ours, and we got to continue to do the little things that got us this win tonight.
Luka's final line, 33 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, 1 bloody left knee. Dallas played some defense. The T-Wolves simply missed shots. Anthony Edwards just 19 points, only 16 from Karl Anthony Towns. They combined to go 12 for 36 from the floor.
I don't think we played our best basketball tonight, 1 through 15.
That's a fair assessment, Ant. There was some good news for him last night, though. He was named second-team All-NBA, a third-team selection for Tyrese Halliburton. Those honors increasing the rookie extension they can soon sign. from $204 to $245 million in total value. The first team squad is Jokic, Luka, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis, and Tatum. Insert grunt from EJ because I didn't say Jalen Brunson.
Or from Perloff because he called Tatum, shrinking in the moment.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
Well, is that...
It's regular season.
But help me out, though, positionally. Like
there is no position.
No more positions.
There's no more position. So they put Tatum over Brunson.
Yes.
Which is weird because Brunson was top 5 in MVP voting.
Yeah, no,
but
Brunson was way higher than Tatum.
Not in All-NBA.
Didn't
To be honest, that doesn't bother me as much as maybe other Knicks fans.
Didn't something happen with Luka being first team All NBA? Now his extension is.
There's like 4 different things: bonuses, ridiculous extensions, and that's why this stuff matters, and why some NBA guys, media guys, don't like voting for this because it's
too
such
much.
an impact.
Yeah, they should get rid of that rule.
The media members don't like it. They feel compromised, especially when you're a beat reporter. And so if you're watching what these guys go through game in and game out, and then you're deciding whether or not they add another $41 million onto their contract, it's kind of a lot.
I don't like it either. I think all NBAs are important in trying to determine best players in the league, but it shouldn't determine money.
I think Luka's getting $1 billion. I think I read that. It's now $1 billion.
Yeah, I did see that too. I think the NBA has a slight problem with the size of these numbers. Like they're going to garner some resentment. I saw Wemby first big contracts to be $95 million a year. I just think these numbers are getting a little maybe embarrassing. I bet who knows what the owners are making. But still, like, is this too much?
All right, do we have a time for me to make my decision?
It is 6:30 Eastern. Maggie Gray, double or nothing.
I'm taking it. I'm taking the double or nothing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm taking it. I need to somehow find any kind of side door to potentially get out of this tuna lime jello. So I'll take on the double or nothing. If Minnesota wins the series, I get away scot-free. If Minnesota loses the series and Dallas wins, not only do I eat the tuna lime jello, I also add in the Rocky Mountain oysters from last series bet with Perloff.
Bingo. There you go. You have an out now.
And you get to decide how the Rocky Mountain oysters are prepared.
Yes. And I get to decide if I'm going to incorporate the Rocky Mountain oysters into the lime tuna jello.
Oh, God.
For the grossest jello mold in the history of the world.
I don't even think it needs the Rocky Mountain oysters to make it the grossest because it was already there.
We have this image up of a lime jello with like an olive floating in jello. Can you imagine a bull's testicle floating in jello with tuna fish all around it?
Gonna be honest, I cannot.
Well, might start to think about how you're going to wrap your head around that.
I'm assuming they're like sliced and deep fried. I'm not eating this thing like a cherry tomato.
Well, they ain't cherry tomatoes. That's your first problem.
I apologize to anyone who's eating breakfast or about to eat breakfast. That image is going to haunt me for the rest of the day.
They're not poppable. They're like
don't say that
baked
word.
Potato sauce,
that word is
Maggie.
banned from the studio.
You gotta cut them.
Back to you, Bogan.
Oh, thanks. Caitlin Clark, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, but she and the Fever came up short in Seattle, 85-83. They're now 0-5. Their last 2 losses coming by 6 total points. The NFL continuing its love affair with Horizon League country. They just held the draft in Detroit. Next April, it's Green Bay. The 2026 version will now be in Pittsburgh, and Youngstown, Ohio remains the favorite for 2027.
Well, that's basically saying you're never, ever in a million years getting a Super Bowl. So here's the draft. Enjoy.
Yep. You're too cold in February, but you're good enough in April for the picks.
Although he did say some things about Nashville.
Again?
Goodell's working on Nashville for Super Bowl. He must
go
have
back?
friends there. For Super Bowl.
Oh, for Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I thought you meant for a draft.
Yeah, so it feels like Nashville, like they just don't like the North for the Super Bowl, right?
The Rust Belt is owning the NFL draft now. It's all Rust Belt. Good for them.
Doug Gottlieb country.
That's
It's
true.
good enough for Doug. It's good enough for
That's
Goodell.
where that's the recruiting trail. Just follow all the NFL draft cities. That's where you'll be seeing Doug.
Smart tech.
Horizon is Oakland. Oakland is in
Michigan, right?
Oh, it's in Michigan, not Pittsburgh. What's the school? What's the Horizon League
Duquesne's
team
in Pittsburgh? Well, they're not Horizon, but Duquesne's in Pittsburgh.
It's
So
Robert Morris, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said that the other day, actually. For some reason, we were talking about this. I'm like, Robert Morris is in North Carolina. You're like, no, it's not. It's in Pittsburgh.
I was trying to think of what was the school Perloff was thinking about that's in North Carolina that's not Robert Morris.
That's some old colonial guy,
Yeah,
probably.
it's like probably one of James Madison or something,
maybe
but that's
James
in Virginia.
Madison.
That's in Virginia. I mean, Gardner Webb is not a name, but I think it's in North Carolina.
Every March when we do the Where is the School game, I mean, you're pretty safe with North Carolina and Alabama.
Yes, and some random like Ohio's sometimes.
Yeah.
Or wherever Murray State is. Still don't know.
Kentucky.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I was
that
going to
was
say Tennessee.
We're all wrong. This is why Perloff driving to San Antonio from New York has been so controversial because we have no idea where the hell anything is. Okay, sorry.
The Florida Panthers started the NHL's Eastern Conference Final with a 3-0 win on Ranger ice. Sergei Bobrovsky, 23 saves for his first shutout of this postseason. It must be nice to have good players on your favorite baseball team. I wouldn't know.
The pitch. Soto drives it to deep left field. Moore back on the run. It is gone. Juan Soto again. A 2-homer night.
Emmanuel Barbari, a giggling
Emmanuel.
Susan Waldman
Sounds
on
good.
Yankees radio. Juan Soto going deep twice as the Bombers snap a 2-game slide, 7-3 over the Mariners.
12 years, $600 million.
Sure.
For Juan Soto?
Yeah.
That's the deal I'm giving him.
Okay, but how much is deferred?
Wait, how much did Pete just
all of
offer him? 12 years, $600 million?
I mean, Shohei just got 10 for 700, right?
Yeah.
And I front load that some of that money, so I would give him like 55 a year and get an opt out, like a couple opt outs. That'd be my ideal contract. I'd give if I was his GM.
Okay.
Hear that, Steve Cohen? This is what we could have.
That's
Well,
right.
I don't even think about it.
Well, how about Hank Steinberg the other day saying costs have to come down for us? Hal, whichever Steinberg's in charge now, saying we gotta come down from what our payroll
Oh,
is.
I
How
saw
you doing
that.
and Juan Soto?
Yeah,
Nobody else is Soto, Judge, and me?
Bogus. Yankee fans were big fans of that statement from the Steinberg.
Sure they were.
Yeah, they love it.
Where were we? Oh, the Rockies outlasted the A's 4-3-12 in Oakland, and the Blue Jays scored 7 in the second to beat the White Sox 9-2. Guys, back to you.
Bogus, thank you. A lot of ground covered there, so appreciate that. Coming up, changes to the NFL schedule, even more changes. This is like the NFL is getting a massive facelift right now, Jerry Jones style. We're not even going to recognize it when it's done. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
One mission.
Welcome back.
Maggie
Gray, Andrew Perloff. We'll get to the NFL. They got owners meetings going on. 18 games schedule. Very much front and center on the agenda. Shocker. First, let's check in with our pal. Jay is in Nashville. Hey, Jay. How you feeling on this
18.
Thursday morning?
Am I really hearing 18? They're really pushing 18 games, really?
Jay, have you met an NFL owner? Come on. They're all about the do-re-mi.
Tell you the truth, I need to meet an NFL owner. I really, it's a few of us fans out here that really needs to meet these owners. Like, look, we love football, but dude, what are you doing? Stop it. You know, I don't know. I don't know if it's greed or it's greed.
Yeah,
but
it's greed.
Come on, man. It just doesn't make sense. Like, how does your brain not tell you, like, look, this is a true situation where if it ain't broke, don't sit up here and try to fix it just to make more money. Else you're going to dilute your money, and I don't know, you're going to fall through the roof like baseball or whatever. But really, I called because I heard y'all talking about like Rocky Mountain oysters and everything, and I'm just like, wait a minute. Did they just forget? I know it's been almost a year, but did you forget about my country fried goat anus idea? Like, what's going on here?
Jay, we'll never forget about your country fried goat anus idea because I couldn't think of anything else for like a week, and I was disgusted beyond belief.
We're trying to forget.
Don't even lie. Don't lie, Maggie. You was like, oh, I wonder, how would you, like,
I'm like, is there gravy on that?
How many different ways can you cook something like that? Yeah, would you
I did.
Put paprika on it or whatever, you know what I mean?
Can I put it in the air fryer?
What I think you guys should do, like, as a challenge or whatever, like, have your own, like, fear factor. Like, if you get Joe Rogan on your show just for, like, one segment, have your own fear factor. You versus Perloff or Perloff versus you, or get EJ in it. And by the way, did y'all ever get EJ that Tasty McGriddle? on air.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad you brought that up, Jay. You're holding us very accountable today. First of all, aren't we Fear Factor? I mean, we're basically there. We're teetering on it. And I don't know if future President Joe Rogan is going to be available to come on our show. But here's the thing about the McGriddle. Did we not try? We ordered McDonald's to try to come and get it delivered, and it might have been the most frustrating day that EJ has had on this show. And I don't even know if there's a close second.
There's not a close second. That was the worst day I've had on this show.
We were basically chasing around the delivery guy all over the island of Manhattan. It was a disaster in every possible way. Should we try again? I don't even want to put you through that.
I was going to say, just call up like DoorDash or something and have the guy come in on air, and then the person's not even going to know where they're delivering it to. They're going to be like, what is this? You know what I mean? And then just slide it all over. And just have EJ unwrap it. I'm telling you, let it be a fresh McGriddle where the steam is still coming off the McGriddle like somebody's hot breath. I'm telling you, that's the best McGriddle right there. And just let EJ have at it.
Jay, I am convinced that McGriddles are amazing because I'm also convinced that the delivery guy, the last guy, just took the McGriddle himself.
Ate it. Yeah.
Because we could never find him. The McDonald's didn't know where he was. Nobody knew where this guy was.
He disappeared into thin air, and I think he took 7 McGriddles with him and just had a party.
Hey, let me tell you, I had to DoorDash a pizza one time. I was in Birmingham. Actually, I was in Hoover, Alabama.
Yeah.
And it's a pizza place called, I forget the name of the place. But they had a pizza that was so big I could barely fit it in my trunk. Me and my niece was rolling around Hoover looking for these people. How my niece was like, Uncle Jason, I'm telling you, if we don't find this house, I'm going to make you pull over. We're going to eat this pizza right here. You know what I mean? And I was even tempted. But so that's probably what happened to the driver. He was like, man, it's a griddle smelling a little bit too fire right now for me to just, like, give it to EJ, man. He don't even know what he's missing anyways. Let me eat it.
Jay, and it's definitely not cars around here in New York. You're getting your delivery on a motorbike, and this thing definitely they're claiming fell off the back of the bike. Jay, you're the best. Thank you again for bringing up the country fried goat. Sorry to cut you off there. You did say that the day you ate the chili.
The McGriddle is the exact opposite of all these foods we're talking about. It's the easiest thing to eat in the world. They put every chemical your body wants in there. It's pancakes and eggs and sausage. I mean, amazing. With syrup. Oh, man. You know what? If you win your double or nothing bet, I'm buying McGriddles for the room. We're doing McGriddles.
To wash it down?
Oh, no, if you get out of your bet. I think we all celebrate with McGriddles.
Now we got root for Maggie.
I know. Can I get an Egg McMuffin, though? I do like them better.
No.
Okay. Sorry. So, 18
Wait, you like it better? You've never had a McGriddle, have you?
I did eat one.
Yeah. You like the Egg McMuffin more than McGriddle?
I do.
What is wrong with you?
So much going on with the McGriddle. But you're going to love it, EJ. You're going to love it.
I'm excited.
Okay, 18-game schedule. John Mara, allegedly, Perloff, the owner of the Giants, is kind of the one person who's willing to sort of step out and say he has some concerns about this. But I'm willing to Mark Messier guarantee that when the push comes to shove, John Mara and everyone else is going to vote for this. They love this idea, the owners do, of the 18-game schedule. First of all, because they're on this never-ending quest to make the NFL on President's Day weekend. This is what they want. I don't know why they can't just do this. You could just add another buy-in, couldn't you? Isn't there a way to manipulate the schedule? You could start it a week later. You can do a million things besides adding an 18th game if you really want to get the Super Bowl to President's Day. And then beyond that, they want to take out another preseason game, and they want to make it a regular season game because, well, the regular season games make way more money, and let's not sleep on this other factor, which is the international games. This is where the owners, I think, really see the potential growth. They're kind of, I don't say maxed out in terms of fans in the United States, but everyone here, I don't know how much bigger the ratings can get. I mean, Taylor Swift, I think, tested that with new audience. They're looking at international games, and I think that's why they want more games so they can sell them abroad.
Yeah, I agree with all that. One thing I don't agree with Jay said, like, this is not going to sink the league. Like, you know, the Mark Cuban statement, the NFL's being hogs or something.
Fat hogs get slaughtered.
Fat hogs. It's still 18 games. NBA has 82 games.
Yeah.
Baseball has 162 games. This is an incremental increase. I actually think it's smart the way they're doing it. They're just sneaking in a game every few years.
Every 5 years or so.
Yeah, every 5 years. And it's like, people like me are like, it's one more game. What's the big difference? So we'll see a little more Jacoby Brissett in week 16. I can live with this. Overall, the product remains so outstanding from entertainment standpoint that like this to me is not even going to make a dent.
Is it though? I
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I love the NFL too. We all love it, but we were basically making fun of how bad the matchups were on Thursday Night Football 2 years ago. That it's like Al Michaels was like openly revolting on the air.
Well, but they fixed that. Then they gave him better matchups. I mean, Sunday night is a home run after home run.
Well, yeah, they can flex that, so it always looks like the best matchup.
But now they can flex out almost all these things.
It's just I kind of am with Jay here. I don't think you're going to notice it immediately, but I do think there's like a drip. How many quarterbacks do we need to get through the season last year? Like 60 something. It's just different when it's Tyson Bagent versus Jake Browning.
I've heard a lot of the NFL's getting too big for its own britches takes over the years, and they usually do not pan out. And it just feels like, and to me, is it really, I mean, honestly, as a product, as a fan, is it that different if it's an 18-game schedule instead of 17? In fact, I don't really like saying 9-8 as a prediction. I don't really like 10-7. I prefer an even number. I prefer an even number. I'm not sure 17, like a 17-game schedule, might as well go 18. And I know I sound kind of callous about that because player health is a big deal. But if the players get more money, I'm sure they'll sign off as well. I know they're talking to the NFLPA. This is how it works. For a little more money, you will play another game.
They definitely will. And but it's laughable compared to the more money that the owners are making, because the way that you divvy all this up, obviously, is, basically guys end up getting, an extra $100,000. And I'm not turning my nose up at $100,000, but I'm saying for, professional athletes and what you deal with down the line potentially with health concerns and all of that, ask yourself, is it worth it? Maybe it still is. I don't know. But it's not like they're getting the quarterbacks are still getting all that insane money, the wide receivers, left tackles, and pass rushers. But this is more about the rank and file kind of back of the roster guys. They're the ones who vote to get just slightly more money and yet having a whole extra game.
My understanding is it's still the players get a certain slice of the pie, and that's not going to change. So if the pie gets bigger, they get the same. So whatever the owners increase in percentage, the players increase at the same rate.
Yeah, but they're divvying it up amongst thousands. How many thousands players are in the NFL versus 30 owners?
Yeah, but it's still more money. I mean,
it is, but
so it's not like
an insane amount more money.
Yeah, it's not an insane amount of more money for the owners. The owners are getting whatever the owners are making off this. The players are making off this too. And eventually, here's the thing: if you get to 18 and say you get to 20, it's been hinted. Are you going to change the way? Are you going to have are you going to sit players, load manage a little bit? I'm curious if it'll affect competitively.
Sports. That's awesome.
I'm not saying no, believe me, I'm not saying that's ideal, but I'm curious, do you view an 18-game schedule differently competitively? Are you team building differently? Are you strategizing during the season? Are you going to have an extra running back to wear that guy down? And I know this is not ideal to talk about players' health like that, but seriously, if you have an 18-game schedule, is that going to give a different kind of team an advantage? Possibly.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's a fair thing to bring up for sure. Because it's become so much more of it's already a war of attrition just to get to the end of the season. Are you sure you're actually having the best teams that are winning? And is it just going to be some big crapshoot to see who is the last man standing here? It's like some gladiator thing. It's not even about the skill, the matchups. It's just going to be who has the healthy bodies.
Right. And look at the headlines we're talking about right now. Lamar Jackson lost 25 pounds. Is that good with an 18-game schedule? Tua Tagovailoa is up for a huge contract. Is that something that makes you nervous with an 18-game schedule? So I think it's going to change the way teams look at the season, and I think smart teams are going to figure it out. For example, Buffalo. That means hand the ball off. Don't put Josh Allen out there all the time because it's a war of attrition.
Yeah.
18 games. Yes, no. Is this ideal from an entertainment standpoint? No, but you're going to watch the NFL just as you always do.
Of course, but I would not be surprised if you have the 18 games. Of course, you'd put the double buy-in. You're putting games in all these different countries at weird times on different days. You're putting them on Christmas. Yeah. You're putting them on all these holidays. You're just making it so there's so many different reasons I might have to miss a game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that the NFL has going for it, which is it feels like you can't miss a game. And that's no longer going to exist.
I don't know. If the Cowboys are playing, say, the Ravens on a Tuesday night, you're not going to miss that game.
I will not, but I'm not the average fan.
The average, nobody's missing that game. That would get a gigantic rating. How depresses everybody? On Tuesday and Wednesday during the NFL season, I mope around the house. I'm like, what am I going to do? There's no game on tonight. I get so bummed out during this. Like, what's bad about Wednesday football except for the wear and tear on the players?
Okay.
As a product, this is all good.
What did you say? Ravens who?
Ravens Cowboys.
Okay, Ravens Cowboys. And say instead of Lamar versus Dak, what if it's Snoop Huntley against Cooper Rush? And say Micah Parsons has been out for 4 games because his shoulder's messed up and blah, blah, blah.
Because of one game?
Well, I'm just saying the wear and tear on the players, if this leads to the stars being out, are you as excited about that Tuesday game? Maybe you are. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that would still get $35 million. You're giving Cooper Rush. I'll bet you the Cooper Rush games did gigantic ratings. Who doesn't love Cooper Rush? Besides, I'm betting on it, and I have fantasy players involved. So, yeah, I'm watching.
855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, the Kansas City Chiefs, on their quest to three-peat, hasn't been exactly smooth sailing. They opened their OTAs. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, speaking to the media, will tell you what they had to say about Rashee Rice, Harrison Butker, and more.
Andrew Perloff's got a tale to tell. Thinks he's an Aussie, but you can never tell. Tries to talk like he's from down under, but his accent's thunder. Oh, what a wonder. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. Crikey, he says, but it sounds all wrong. Mixes kangaroos with a New York song. Crocodile Dundee would have a laugh if he heard our Andrew with his strange mishmash. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up the snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. Foster's in his hand, trying to fit in, but his mates back home just chuckle and grin. He should be slinging steaks, not slinging slang. In the kitchen's where he can really hang. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. So here's to Perloff, I wanna be Aussie. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. So here's to Perloff.
Biglotti's got something to say. Infinity's mice, he's feeling the dismay. No NBA on NBC, what a shame. Just JJ Redick's wine ain't the same. Peter Bellotti is getting upset. Maggie Perloff, can you hear his plea? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Set his spirit free, he misses Mar. Co-stars and the crew, those were the days. Pete cries out boo, boo. Bring it back, or can't you see? Bring back the NBA on NBC. Let it be. Pete's mad, he's feeling sad. Bring it back, oh make it right. Biglotti's got something to say.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Kansas City Chiefs trying for a three-peat. Perloff, they are the dynasty in the NFL right now. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, but it has not been a smooth offseason.
What specifically are you referring to? Because I can think of a number of things you're referring to.
Yeah, there's a couple things that they were answering, and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid answering questions about, longing for the days to just talk about Kelsey's relationship with Taylor Swift.
Right.
Things have gotten a little bit more interesting since then. And first and foremost, about Rashee Rice, because this is really going to impact the Kansas City Chiefs on the field. We can debate to what degree, but Rice, the wide receiver who is just coming off a phenomenal rookie year, this has been an issue. He was in a car accident and caused a car accident because of drag racing that injured, 7 people, I believe, back in early March. And then on top of that, and that's bad enough, and there's going to be, lawsuits and all of that. Then he got into an altercation in a nightclub in May. Now, the person he got into the altercation with was a photographer. That person is not pressing charges. However, that doesn't mean the NFL won't come down on you.
Yeah.
That part of it doesn't really matter for our purposes in terms of football fans and people who talk about this. It's just going to tack on more games to the inevitable suspension that Rashee Rice is going to have this year.
Yeah, I guess that's the biggest on-field problem right now, because Rice became a huge part of the passing game last year with no Tyreek Hill, and with Kelsey. Eventually, teams decided to really focus on Kelsey.
Yep.
Rice was the next option. Very good possession receiver, too. I bet the under on Rice receptions all the time and got burned all the time.
Yeah.
They love going to him at the line of scrimmage. You could see Patrick Mahomes was incredibly comfortable with a rookie, so he's a huge part of what they do.
And he's probably going to be gone for, we can only speculate. I would say minimum 4 games, but maybe more.
There was a report from former NFL Network reporter James Palmer, at least half the season. So maybe 9 or 10 games. I think you have a really good point about the altercation with the photographer. That's like a straw that broke the camel's back to make it a huge 8-game to 10-game.
Crazy. So here's Patrick Mahomes yesterday telling the media and fans, by extension, they want to help Rice be a better person.
I think it's just trying to do whatever we can to teach him how to learn from his mistakes. Obviously, that was a big mistake, but you have to learn from it, make sure it doesn't happen again, and try to do whatever you can to be the best person you can be in society, not only for yourself, but for the people around you.
Okay, so that's the Rice situation, and I think that Mahomes did a good job kind of answering that pretty diplomatically. And let's be fair. Mahomes has got people in his own life, like his brother, who have caused distractions for him, and he's found a way to play through that, and obviously to a very big degree, his father as well. Okay, then they got to the point about Harrison Butker, and by now you've probably heard, if you're a big sports fan, that Harrison Butker did a commencement speech at Benedictine College, and he covered a lot of ground. He said a lot about, anti-LGBTQ stance, DEI, diversity and inclusion. Not a huge fan. Also talking about women and their role, and whether it's a traditional sort of homemaking role and sort of where, and he sort of said very emphatically where women should be, which is in the home. So he covered a lot of ground, as I said. To some people, this was a very popular thing. To others, it was not. Just to be fair, the nuns from the Benedictine College came out and kind of disavowed it. They didn't really love what he had to say, but it was extremely polarizing. Now, here's Patrick Mahomes saying that he doesn't agree with Butker's views, but he says he's a good person.
There's certain things that he said that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand the person that he is, and he's trying to do whatever he can to lead people in the right direction, and that might not be the same values as I have, but at the same time, I'm going to judge him by the character that he shows every single day. That's a great person.
Okay, so Andy Reid also said he respects everyone's views after the Butker comment.
We're a microcosm of life here. Everybody's from different areas, different religions, different races, and so we all get along. We all respect each other's, opinions, and not necessarily do we go by those, but we respect everybody to have a voice. It's a great thing about America, man, and we're just, like I said, a microcosm of that. And I wish, my wish is that. Everybody could kind of follow that.
Okay, more from Andy Reid. He doesn't think Butker spoke ill of women and then brings the media into it.
Yeah, that hasn't happened. I don't think he was speaking ill to women, but he has his opinions, and we all respect that. I let you guys in this room, and you have a lot of opinions that I don't like.
Well, I mean, that's
He's trying to be funny.
Yeah, he's trying to be funny there. And I don't know if a lot of people thought this was funny. And here's the thing. Of course, everyone has the right for their views. Listen, Harrison Butker wasn't stumping for politically. He wasn't, out there doing this. He was doing it at a commencement speech. The people at the speech, as I said, the nuns didn't like a lot of what he had to say, or they pushed back on what he had to say. Of course, it's a no-brainer. Of course, he's allowed to have his views. But also, there could be a backlash to those views. And what happens when we talk about distractions in a locker room is you put yourself out there in this way. It could lead to some really great conversations maybe amongst your teammates, but I imagine you go to a teammate who's not white and you start talking about diversity and equity and inclusion, and you might get to some really difficult conversations there. You have to be ready to have those, and maybe he wants that, and maybe he thinks it will lead to a better spot, but I don't know necessarily about like women and their role and how that maybe plays into the locker room. Maybe it does. I think it's more about the diversity stuff that he said, and also about being anti-LGBTQ. Railing against Pride Month is basically what he did, and had some very tough things to say. I don't know which part of this hits a locker room hardest, but it'd be hard for me to think none of it's going to land with a thud.
I would lean more towards none of it, because I don't engage politically with people in my office. I know there's people with all different politics, and it doesn't really affect that much of the day-to-day. Because I've never been on a professional locker room. I've been in locker rooms. Yeah. I do feel like they have an incredible ability to incorporate many different views.
And a latitude to talk about these things.
Or to just, I think, or ignore things too. I think, for example, you say Rashee Rice. I think there are a lot of players who are just trying to hold on to their job. They're not going to say anything to Rashee Rice, and they're not going to say anything to Harrison Butker. I'm not sure that there are all these kinds of discussions happening on a daily basis. Because, say there's a guy down the hall or something who I know has views that I find distasteful. I mean, honestly, we're not going to talk about it at the water cooler. Sure. So I just think that locker rooms have an ability through the years to put all these distractions aside. And a lot of teams, and especially Andy Reid teams, Andy Reid's incredible. He's famous for killing controversy within a locker room. Like, I remember there was a former player who said, you guys have no idea when he was the Eagles coach what's really happening with the Eagles, because Andy makes it all go away. Right. So I do think, I just think locker rooms are very resilient, and they'll be able to fit all this in. And this is, to me, if you're looking at what's going to ruin the three-peat, this kind of controversy, especially because it's May, feels like they're going to be able to handle this, because they've handled a lot of diversity in the past. Not diversity, adversity in the past. I mean, I was looking back at last year. Chris Jones was not there in the beginning of the year.
I know, watching the game from a suite.
Yeah,
right?
Travis Kelce was hurt in the beginning of the year. They had got rid of Tyreek Hill. They didn't know who was going to catch the ball. There was a lot, they've been able to put, and then they had this Taylor Swift madness around them. For some reason, this team has been able to put everything to the side. So, yeah, I'm not sure they're at the breaking point yet.
Yeah, I would say the one thing about that, though, contract stuff, guys dating a famous person.
Well, not just any famous person, but
I know, but it wasn't polarizing. Like maybe you had some people who were like, "Oh, we don't want Taylor Swift at our football game. Stop showing her so much." But that's not polarizing the way some of these comments were.
You're saying your best defensive player is sitting in the crowd. That's not polarizing, and those guys are out. The linebackers and defensive ends are out there sweating their butt off while he's up in the suite. That could be polarizing.
Yeah, but I think we all have a little bit of an understanding about contract stuff.
True.
You know, we kind of get it.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
This
and
stuff
also,
is-
everyone there seems to love Chris Jones. So
Right.
why not?
And like this kind of stuff, I to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is the last we've heard of it, or I'm not sure if this is something where, listen, you do the amount of winning that the Chiefs have done, you're going to be really popular, even down to your kicker. You know, like kickers aren't generally the guys who are doing commencement speeches, as far as I know. But with the winning comes the spoils. And Harrison Butker on one side of this has become like maybe a bit of like a freedom fighter or something. I think there's also a lot of people who agree with what he's saying and want to elevate his status. So what does that do? That means he's getting more opportunities to speak and more opportunities to put out these views that are really polarizing. Listen, we do this with Aaron Rodgers. He puts out stuff, and he is a way bigger star than Butker, and he puts out crazy stuff, and we talk about it. We look at it, and his is not exactly like down this vein. It's a little more conspiracy theories. But sometimes...
I mean, there's a lot of COVID in here. I noticed he mentioned COVID at least 45 times.
He did. I think
and that's Rodgers' thing,
it comes back on
Yeah.
you know? Like you can't expect, this is why so many athletes just try to be pretty middle of the road, is because they don't want to alienate people on either side. And so Butker now is going to have an even bigger platform. And so could it be a distraction if he continues to take these opportunities to speak to different groups? And I mean, the rhetoric was pretty, I would say hyperbole. I mean, he was not mincing words here. There was nothing hidden. This was
pointed.
Very pointed. Thank you.
Yeah, but how is that going to affect the?
I'm
Do you
just
guys really
saying-
think this is the case? I think the discussion is just going to hurt the Chiefs, and to me, I don't see it.
It might not. I mean, you're right about Andy Reid. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure yet. I don't want to say a conclusion yet. And again, I don't think like Harrison Butker's not going to like sink the Kansas City Chiefs. That'd be way too much. But would it continue to be a distraction? It might be. We're about to go into an election year. I imagine people will be asking him about certain things, because once you put it out there, hey, I want to talk about these topics, it's just like with Aaron Rodgers. Then McAfee's, they'll ask him everything under the sun because they know he has an opinion about that he's fine to put out to the public.
It may also be easy to say that Butker can't sink the Chiefs, but I mean, he's a field goal kicker that makes a lot of clutch kicks. And he is somebody that, for the most part, was anonymous regarding people even caring about him, other than the fact that he's a good field goal kicker. And now he's under a lot more scrutiny than he's ever been under. So maybe the rest of the roster can be fine because they're just going to go about their normal day, but his life has now changed. So is he going to be as money as he's been with now the eyeballs more on him? That could be a question that could be important, because the Chiefs are playing close games. They played a lot of them last year. And he's not the same. You know what they're going to point to.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, distractions do not keep you from winning a Super Bowl. Remember what the Patriots were dealing with? They had Tom Brady's in court talking about deflated footballs, and they're out there winning Lombardis. I mean, and they went 16-0 after the Spygate scandal. I just think, but on the other hand,
that was a football scandal. Like that was still within the realm of football. This is not football at all. This is totally crossed over into politics, culture.
I don't think that hurts a team. I mean, there are a lot of outspoken guys. Aaron Rodgers is as outspoken as anyone, and people are still high on the Jets. Nick Bosa is kind of outspoken politically, and I don't think anyone's betting against the Niners because of that. We all know, and by the way, and I think
there's a reason why this speech made a lot of waves.
I think there's a misnomer. This is my opinion, that the politics in a football locker room, I think they tend way more conservative than people realize.
I agree. Maybe, and you're absolutely right about that. In every sport, I think I'll agree. That's why I wasn't sure about the comments about women and their place, like in society. Listen, I don't know what's going to trigger somebody. I don't know if it'd be that. I don't know if it'd be the LGBTQ stuff. Just obviously personal views, that we hold. You want everyone to feel comfortable and feel safe and feel everything in their own community. I thought it was the diversity stuff.
I don't even know if that is where you think it is in a football locker room.
Maybe not,
I mean, I think I would say there are many registered Republicans of every race, color.
I know. I'm not even saying that Republicans are all necessarily against DEI. I'm not even saying it breaks down on political party. I'm just saying I think that you might interpret that differently depending potentially on the color of your skin. And obviously, the NFL is 75% black and not white. So I don't I think that would be the part that, like, say that to somebody's face in your locker room.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that would go over well.
But
Maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think so.
I don't think anyone's gonna go up and talk to Harrison Butker about that. I just don't think these conversations are happening. Also, a kicker's not really a player; he's a kicker. So there's no if it was the quarterback, yeah, that would nobody really depends on Harrison Butker to do their job. Maybe the long snapper and the holder, but I just don't see that conversation happening.
There was a thing that Patrick Mahomes once said about how Harrison Butker sits next to him in every meeting. It was meant to be a funny thing. He's like, for some reason, Harrison Butker sits next to me in every meeting. So yes, they're just kickers. They're specialty players. They're off to the side. They're not, practicing with the other guys. But Butker, I think, is a big part of the team, even though he's just a kicker.
There's also a culture of football that the kicker shouldn't be bringing any more attention to the team and to himself than other kickers. Like, that's a thing, too. Because the most infamous kicker quote we have is Peyton Manning calling Mike Vanderjagt the idiot kicker who got liquored up and ran his mouth off. And so yes, they are kind of on their own, but there's also an expectation that those guys shut up and kick, for lack of a better term, on the team in terms of the locker room dynamic.
855-212-4227. So, got that. Been an interesting offseason for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm still pretty high on them, by the way, until Patrick Mahomes finally gets injured. I don't bet against him.
Doesn't even matter if he gets injured.
Yeah,
he won a Super Bowl in one leg.
I know. It's I thought one of the things you were going to mention was his dad bod walking into the facility the other day. That doesn't seem to stop them either.
I think it's helping them.
How about the fact that Travis Kelce is about to turn 50?
Wow.
It's amazing. Like, they seem very resilient. Like, there's no controversy that is getting. I thought they were dumb when they traded Tyreek Hill. I'm like, he's their best player. How can they let Tyreek Hill out? And it doesn't matter.
Will these Chiefs distractions impact them at all in their quest for a three-peat? 855-212-4227. Of course, you can watch the show. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. So much more to do, including a GOAT weighing in on a phenom. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We have a gigantic show development from this morning. I generously offered to Maggie to get out of a bet that I won in the last round of the NBA playoffs. If the T-Wolves beat the Nuggets, she had to eat lime jello tuna fish mold. It's the most disgusting thing you will ever see.
Ugh.
There was a green version and a sort of tuna colored version. The tuna colored version, I could just show Maggie a picture and she gags.
Yeah.
I'm offering her an out, a double or nothing.
Here we go.
If the Timberwolves come back from an 0-1 deficit and win the series, Maggie is free. She does not have to eat anything gross.
Oh, please.
If the Dallas Mavericks win, she has to take my steaks from the last round and also eat a Rocky Mountain oyster. And I get to determine how this is prepared.
But here's the caveat. It must be cooked in some way.
I'm not
eating raw bull's testicles.
No, I'm not gonna risk your health on this.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I don't know if it's like carpaccio. I have no idea. I don't know if there's like a...
Will not be raw.
Okay, thank
Will
you.
not be raw. I have something much more evil planned with these bull's testicles. Much more evil.
Wow, what a statement. That'd be like a good quote or something.
Yes.
It's like, you do like an interview with some kind of like a sports magazine.
I've been thinking a long time about what to do with these bull's testicles.
If one more person asked me about that. Yes, Kaplan already said he's making that quote into a graphic. Oh, yeah, so I took it. I'm taking the double or nothing just in some way, maybe some kind of exit ramp to get out of the tuna jello, even though, and I actually was a little higher on Minnesota than you were last night. They lose to the Mavericks in the final seconds of the game, but it was really just, seemed like a fatigue factor.
Yeah.
With Anthony Edwards, and I'm gonna bet on a 22-year-old with a day off being able to find his legs again.
I'm going to bet when you have Luka Doncic on one side and Jaden McDaniels on the other side in the fourth quarter, give me Luka.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a team that's ready now, and I'm not sure Minnesota's quite there.
Yeah, but we thought that against the Nuggets at times. And when they went down 3-2 against the Nuggets, it's like, they just aren't ready. It's just not their year. Here come the defending champs. And it didn't happen.
They were down 58-38 in Game 7. I don't know how they won that game. I don't know how they beat the Nuggets. I'm not even sure. But I'll tell you one thing. The Nuggets would have beaten this bad.
That's how they won. Defense.
Well, where was the defense last night?
Luka and Kyrie put a flame torch.
Yeah.
They solved. Kyrie disappeared in the fourth. And honestly, Luka had it was like a 13-0 run. Luka, why do you double team that dude? Help me out here.
Well, you can't
Triple
really
team
double team him because then Kyrie is like one of the best wingmen since
Kyrie,
Pippen.
he was not a factor in the fourth quarter.
That's
They
because he's
just
being
would
guard-
not. They just should bum rush Luka, get the ball out of his hands.
Well, Kyrie wasn't a factor in the fourth quarter because Anthony Edwards found his legs and was playing great defense on him. If you start blitzing
because
him, then
Luka was busy just hitting jumpers. Like Luka didn't give the ball up the entire fourth quarter. He didn't even pass it. He's just like
Kyrie missed a bunch of shots in the fourth.
basket.
Yeah, I mean, I get you, but Kyrie also couldn't get off in that fourth quarter. He missed some baskets too. So it's the chicken and egg game. You can say, okay, let's double Luka, even though we have bigs who don't move well on the perimeter. I'm putting Rudy Gobert 50 feet from the basket and say, all right, Kyrie, 4-on-3. Find a way to make plays.
Well,
I would be very scary about that proposition, which is what they're doing.
Watch what happens next game. Because Oklahoma City did this. You got to get the ball out of Luka's hands. That's your only choice. I mean, Reggie Miller was almost jumping out of his booth last night to say you have to double team this guy. You make PJ Washington beat you.
Well, and he hit a huge corner three last night. PJ Washington
Killed the Thunder, too.
Kevin is in Chicago, wants to talk about Minnesota. Hey, Kev.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. What's up?
Oh, man, it seems like the way this Minnesota team's been covered, it's Anthony Edwards and a bunch of role players. When you actually look at this team, they got 2 7-foot All-Stars. They got 2 world-class wings, great defenders, McDaniels, Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Sixth man of the year, Naz Reid, has been playing his mind out.
Yep.
McConley, I mean, this team is stacked from top to bottom. But if you listen to coverage, all it is Anthony Edwards.
We were just talking about Jaden McDaniels and how he's got the assignment of covering Luka.
Kevin, then you have 2 7-foot All-Stars. Why is Dallas scoring at will in the paint? At will. They dominated that game in the paint.
Luka Doncic and Kyrie, they're the best in the world. They're top 10 players in the world. That's why.
Well, that's why they get the coverage then, I guess.
I'm talking about Anthony Edwards. They're comparing him to Michael Jordan and saying this and that. And, like, he hasn't done nothing. This team is a world-class team. That's what we should be talking about. It's a world-class team.
Kevin, I think to be fair, we do talk about Anthony Edwards, but
6th man of the year.
I know.
what I mean?
We get it. 4-time defensive player of the year. Everyone's got all the accolades, but I think everyone would also say that it starts and ends with Anthony Edwards. And even when he's not scoring, they were able to close out the Nuggets even when he wasn't having a great scoring game. So I think we do actually give a lot of credit. With Karl Anthony Towns came up really big in that Game 7, and we gave him the flowers for the Game 7. Now, he was 6 for 20 last night, so we can't exactly talk about how great he was. We love talking about Naz Reid, and he was huge at the end of the game last night. He played a solid 24 minutes, 15 points. He was the only one who was actually efficient last night, him and Kyle Anderson.
Yeah, Cat's defense was not good last night either. I mean, which is not a huge surprise. There's something, I just feel like this is the wrong matchup. It's a wrong matchup for Minnesota because the way Dallas is built feels like they have every button to hit to get to Minnesota's weak spots. They don't seem, their interior defense is a big problem. Like Edwards was scared at the rim. I hate to say it. Like he would drive in and just kick it out. He's like, I'm not going to get my shot blocked.
Well, again, does that go back to the fatigue though?
Could be.
So, to be seen. Come on, Minnesota. Let's go. Get me out of this bet. I do not want to eat this disgusting food. Andrew Bogusch is here. Hello.
Hello again. We should all have the kind of Wednesday that Luka Doncic did. First, here's what Maggie mentioned last hour. He was voted first team All-NBA, making him eligible now for a super max extension worth $346.3 million over 5 years.
Wait, 5 years?
Yes.
So wait, help me out on the math here. How many? That's 70?
So it's roughly,
what was
on
it again?
average,
Give me the numbers again.
346.3. No, 346.
Over 5?
Yeah. So it's just less than 70 a year.
60.
It would be the richest deal in NBA history. He can sign it as soon as the 2025 offseason. He celebrated the potential financial windfall with that huge fourth quarter last night in Minnesota.
7 to shoot on the drive. Little 12-footer right in the lane. Good! Big basket for Doncic. Monster fourth quarter for Luka. He's got 15 in the quarter. And the Mavericks by 4 with 45 seconds remaining.
Chuck Cooperstein on Mavs Radio. Doncic 15 of his 33 in the final period. That hoop capping the deciding 8-0 run. He and the Mavs stealing a 108-105 win to start the Western Conference Final.
It's big time. We know how how tough it is to play in this place, especially against a team like Timberwolves. They have so many weapons. So it's big time to take this win.
I'm sorry. I was just looking up the GDP of Slovenia. Just
Yeah, what do you got?
where Luka's from. Now, it's a lot. It's 60 billion. Someone smarter at math is going to have to figure out 376 million is what of 60 billion in terms of what slice of the GDP that he, I don't know.
I don't know
can't
if
do math.
that doesn't go into.
No, it doesn't. But
Oh, well, maybe it does. Hey, is this the biggest? This is by far the biggest contract in North American team sports history because, like, I know Mbappe has made more or something, but this is way bigger than.
well, Shohei,
Oh yeah, what?
700 million.
700 million, but that was 10 years.
And
though,
it's
right?
all deferred, yeah.
Wait, actually, how long?
70 a year.
Is it? Oh, okay. So Shohei is 70 a year, but that's deferred, so that's not going to be worth nearly 70 a year. So this is way bigger than that.
It's crazy. Good for him. How do
And
you,
by the way,
how
that's
do you
just-
field a team when someone's making that much? Just
Well,
one person.
that
And it's a salary cap sport.
Salary cap's going to explode again.
Yeah, with the new TV deal, I saw Wemby's going to make 95 million a year, and probably worth it. Whenever his deal is up, like they're expecting that somebody projected the cap for his
Probably like 20.
his first time to hit it.
28 or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
it would be his second
wasn't
extension, though.
Yeah,
probably.
not his rookie
Not his
extension. It'd be
rookie
his
extension.
next one. Like
Yeah.
2 contracts from now.
Guys, just stop with the details. That's like a fun number, 95 million. Why are you killing this
I'm
with
not
that?
saying
Don't
it's
give me
wrong.
bird
I'm
rights. I
just-
don't want to hear that crap.
Just telling you when it will happen.
Yeah, I spent 10 minutes on Bobby Marks' Twitter feed last night going through
Yeah.
all of these things. Now I'm a
Yeah.
cap
Are
expert.
you
It
guys-
can't be his rookie
You're
extension.
going to pull up a touch screen where you're going to do the trade machine and give me salary cap numbers?
Have they reached the
by the
second
time
apron?
Wemby's making 90 million, that's when Pearl will finally arrive in San Antonio to apologize. I drive to Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah, he's walking there.
Oh. We got, I didn't want, don't bring that up.
Why?
Why?
Because I guess Wemby's in San Antonio right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we only learned that because of Bogish.
Yeah, so I don't want to drive now. It's so hot in San Antonio right now. It's 95 degrees.
Again, this is a punishment. It's not a road trip
Exactly.
for fun, and we will decide when you drive to San Antonio. We were thinking after the Olympics. Let's let Wemby get through the Olympics. Then we saw him looking at rookie cards and stuff. I'm like, oh, maybe he's.
What's he
ready
doing
right
in San Antonio right now? He's French. I would have think he'd spend the
Right.
summer in Paris.
That was our assumption as we were getting to the end of the year that he was just going to pack up and leave. So that's why it was okay for you to go at the beginning of next season, thinking that's when he'd be back. But he's still there right now. So I mean, it is a holiday weekend. I wouldn't suggest driving this weekend, but maybe
murder.
Monday drive against traffic, leave New York because people are coming back from the holiday weekend and get to San Antonio.
It's like when my students are like, "Oh, I'm not traveling for spring break." I'm like, "Okay, good. Assignment due next week."
I love that Perloff is thinking that May is very hot in San Antonio. But
Yeah.
I'm sure September is going to be
my gosh.
balmy and breezy.
All right, just be careful, Maggie, because I can control how you have to eat these Rocky Mountain oysters.
Fair.
So I have
Back
some
to you,
leverage.
Bogut.
I have some leverage on you.
You look handsome today. Caitlin Clark and the Fever still searching for their first win. 0-5 after last night's 85-83 final in Seattle. Clark had 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists after some pregame doubt that she would play after hurting her ankle in their previous game. Those on-court struggles get coupled with some off-court haters, and that's where LeBron comes to Caitlin's defense. She reminds him of him when he entered the NBA, and she's getting some of the same heat that Bronny is getting these days.
There's a very small number of men and women that actually get to live out their dream of playing a professional sport. And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is. And I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulders.
That clip, by the way, from Pete's favorite podcast, the one with LeBron and JJ Redick.
What wine were they drinking today?
Yeah, who's
Beaujolais.
who's fighting to stop Caitlin Clark from having a career?
Is he talking about like the Diana Taurasi and that kind of like, oh, there's going to be adjustment? Or is he talking
Yes.
about the quote unquote haters, the like straw man?
Well, he said men, though, so I was wondering.
No, the men and women meaning the men and women is reference to her and Bronny who are trying
Yeah.
to live out their dreams, and then it gets to people, grown-ups, who are taking shots at younger people trying to knock down their accomplishments.
So he's talking about haters online and stuff.
Yeah, I know what he means.
Not talking
but-
about like, because there were some like Kendrick Perkins, for example, was on ESPN kind of railing against Bronny getting all this attention, even sort of being in the draft. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, I think it's all encompassing. It's she's not going to easily walk into the WNBA and do this. He shouldn't be drafted.
Well,
he's not good enough.
It's obviously a false equivalency. Caitlin Clark and Bronny James are
Correct.
not
Not
the
the
same.
same.
But can you
Definitely.
play the quote again? It sounds to me like he's really. This is all about Bronny. He doesn't
There's
care
a
about Caitlin
very
Clark.
small number of men and women that actually get to live out their dream of playing a professional sport. And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen.
So
That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is. And I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulders.
Nobody's trying to stop Caitlin Clark from being the pros. Everybody's trying to stop Bronny because the dude scored 4 points a game at USC, and it's insane that he's going to get drafted.
Who's stopping Bronny? Are people commenting on Bronny? Who's standing in his way? Adam Silver? Like,
A lot
nobody
of
can
people
get
are
in the
being
way
like,
here.
a lot of people are saying this is one of the craziest things in sports history that a marginal Division I college basketball player is going to be a first-round pick. That is upsetting to many, many people.
But also, like, the idea that, because we're quote-unquote stopping Bronny, they're saying that Bronny shouldn't be there, and someone else who has had a better college career and is a better college player who doesn't have the connections of LeBron James should be in that position. Like, we're not saying, remove a roster spot in the NBA so that Bronny doesn't get to play. We're saying that, no, Bronny is skipping the line over guys who should make it. So that's, I kind of understand what LeBron's saying, but he's off the mark on this.
Also saying it's like it's their dream. I think with Bronny, it's more LeBron's dream. Because if it was Bronny's dream, maybe he could play in a couple more years of college and go back into the draft.
Which is the other part of this, and we've discussed this already. 3/4 of any Bronny backlash has been preceded by LeBron overselling him.
Right.
Which is now, and whatever, backroom deals are going on, it's leading to people incorrectly being mean to Bronny, but there is criticism that is necessary of this situation, and LeBron fueled so much of it.
Michael Jordan's kids played basketball and they were fine. One played at UCF, he was fine. But Jordan wasn't out here saying he's gonna be in the NBA. He's better than the guys in the NBA. And we didn't clown Marcus Jordan for his career in college. We clowned him more for this Larsa Pippen thing. Post career. But he played college basketball. He pursued wherever he wanted, and we're done with it. It's LeBron and the marketing around Bronny that has brought this attention to him, and now he's upset because there are people who are paying attention. I don't understand what he wants.
My problem is the basketball standpoint. How can he compare Bronny to Caitlin Clark? He's it's well, Anthony Edwards gets criticized for not scoring more than 30 last night. Same thing with Bronny. I mean, that's like comparing me to Patrick Mahomes. What's he doing here? It's totally a false equivalency to me. And actually, I wonder, maybe I'm wrong about it, a little straw man. Are there really a lot of people out there that's saying Caitlin Clark? I know what Diana Taurasi said.
She said she was going to have a tough adjustment, and people took that like she was, basically cutting the brakes on her car.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think that there are all these people. Maybe they're haters online saying Caitlin Clark shouldn't be out there, but I don't know who would say that.
If you can't listen to that, obviously.
Yeah, the Bronny situation is so different. I'm glad that LeBron's glad that she has a head on her shoulders.
He's rooting for her.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she'll. Yeah, he probably wants to sign her. I mean, that's probably wants rights to something here.
He wants his own Wilson signature basketball.
I'm sure he's developing a movie about her right now. He's like, I love that Caitlin Clark.
Oh man, I watched Space Jam for the first time the other day with my
the
kid.
LeBron version? How is it?
Not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
my
not
brothers
bad.
liked it. My brothers liked it.
It's a kid's movie, so you're realizing it's for kids, and young people. LeBron's not bad. It's just funny that it's LeBron and he's living his life as LeBron, but the whole family is
different.
Actors.
Yeah.
They didn't get Bronny's not in it, Savannah's not in it. It's a whole. Don Cheadle's in it. He's pretty good.
Who's the Sean Bradley and Muggsy? Sean Bradley and Muggsy both single-handedly stole Space Jam 1. Who's the basketball players that lose their talent?
I didn't get to it. I was 30 minutes in, and they're doing some AI thing. It was silly.
Yeah, you say Charles Barkley stole that movie.
Oh, I just remember Muggsy Bogues was in it too.
Muggsy was great, but Charles Barkley being like, "I'll never go out with Madonna again." Perfect.
Yeah, I can't remember. I haven't seen it in a long time.
But that's a movie I could do line for line. I could do that as a Shakespeare read.
You should have done that yesterday.
Julius Caesar. We didn't tell you had to do Shakespeare when you did your monologue yesterday.
Someone mentioned Shakespeare, so that's where I started. I went there.
No, you did it. I thought it was a great performance. Space Jam would have been better.
We found out that EJ was 3 credits away from being a theater minor. I'm sorry, we've got to go because we have Ross Dellinger who's going to be joining us next. The amount of changes that is coming to college football right now and college athletics will make your head spin. We will make it all very easy to understand and easy to follow everything that's happening in college sports. We'll do that next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Major changes coming to college sports and specifically Perloff college football. The NCAA and the power conferences now on the doorstep of settling a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit that would end amateurism as we've known it. It would agree to back pay to student athletes, as well as a forward-looking sort of revenue sharing, for lack of a better term, model. But to get more into this, we welcome in Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports. Have been covering this story. Ross, good morning. Thanks for the time.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're doing great, man. So this is about to happen. It's getting rubber stamped. I believe the SEC and the Pac-12 are the last two holdouts to settle this multi-billion-dollar lawsuit. This means the schools could pay the players. Am I right about that? And how would it look?
Yeah, you're right. The lawsuit basically is, I like to break it down into three parts, right? You mentioned it. It's back damages for players who did not get NIL the 4 years prior to NIL was implemented. And that's a huge thousands of athletes, right? From 2016 to 2020, somewhere around there. And the NCAA will pay them $2.8 billion in back damages. So that's one part of this. And the second part of this is a forward model, a new model in college athletics, which will include, as you mentioned, direct pay from schools to players. Most of it, I think, will be in the form of classified as NIL payments. The schools are basically buying players' rights, NIL rights, to broadcast their name, image, and likeness on TV broadcast, on billboards, used on the school's website, wherever. And they'll pay them through, whatever athletic department funds that they have. And there'll be a salary cap, kind of a quasi salary cap of probably the low to 20 million. So around 21, 22 million is where the salary cap will start. And that revenue sharing model will begin next fall. So probably next August in the fall semester. And then the third part of this is kind of a restructured governance and enforcement model for the power conference schools within the NCAA. So that's kind of how it all breaks down.
Ross, just logistically, the $2.1 billion that they have to do in back pay, where does the NCAA get that money? And how are they just going to cut checks to every player?
Yeah, basically. They send the money would go, the $2.8 billion would go to the plaintiff's lawyers, who would then distribute it based on an allocation formula to all of these former athletes. And it's all based around what an athlete would have gotten if NIL had existed the 4 years preceding NIL existing, being allowed. Because, for years, the NCAA obviously did not permit athletes to earn compensation from their name, image, and likeness. So those group of athletes in the 4 year stretch there would be an allocation formula that the plaintiff's attorneys have created, and that would determine how the money is distributed, basically among the athletes. Now, where the NCAA is getting the money is a great question. Of the $2.8 billion, $1.1 billion, about 40% of it, will come from the NCAA office, the national office, through a reduction of expenses. Insurance payments actually come into play here, some reserves, and then 60% of the amount, about $1.65 billion over a 10-year stretch. This is a 10-year payback period they get. So $1.65 billion will come directly from the schools. It will be a reduction of NCAA distribution from the schools for a 10-year period probably through 2034. And where does NCAA distribution come from? Almost all of it comes from revenues from the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So basically, CBS and Turner, who own the rights of the NCAA men's basketball tournament and pay revenues to the NCAA, will basically, in a way, be paying for much of this.
Ross Dellinger is joining us. Yahoo Sports, major changes coming to college sports and back pay, as you just heard, and also a model for future payment. And this is just the schools directly paying the players with this sort of pseudo salary cap that would happen. Now, athletes could still do other NIL opportunities, right? So you can still go out there and earn other forms of income, because we imagine most of this would probably go to football and men's and women's basketball, or maybe even just men's basketball. I'm not sure about that. But Ross, I had another question for you about the private equity that's getting involved in college sports. That's a big part of this as well. And it's, investment firms that are going to be pumping money into college. And these are not charities. They're looking for a return on this investment. It also would mean potentially Saudi money and sovereign wealth funds as well. What does this mean for the future of college football and college athletics?
Yeah, this is something that's been buzzing for, I would say, the last year or 2 years or so. As the money, TV money specifically, increases for college football specifically, but college basketball as well. Men and women, I think women's numbers of viewership is at an all-time high. We saw this past year. So as these things increase, the TV money increases. These big TV deals, right, go from the Big Ten just signed last year, the $1.1 billion a year deal. You get the attention of outside entities. In most of those are private equity, private capital firms. And yesterday was kind of another step toward that in a public announcement from one of the biggest private equity firms in the country, Redbird Capital, announcing a partnership with Weatherford Capital down in Tampa, Florida, that they have created this platform for college athletics to invest in college athletic departments. And it's been no real secret in the industry. Drew Weatherford, he's a former Florida State quarterback. He's over the Weatherford Capital. He's been meeting with upwards of 40 to 50 FBS, athletic departments about investing. And basically, the platform is, we will invest $50 to $200 million in your athletic department, immediate cash for you to use, and we will take a cut of your growth for 10 to 20 years to get back that money, and then some, maybe. So that was the announcement yesterday, but this has kind of been brewing for a while. And now, right, with schools having to come up with, probably at least the Power Conference schools, at least $20 million to pay athletes. Now, they don't have to pay athletes. This is what's called permissive. So they're not required to, but in a recruiting landscape, right, that's very competitive, they will pay athletes. I think many of them in the Power Conferences will hit that cap, and they need to find that money. So I think one area they are looking is that private equity lane.
Russ, we have 30 seconds left. Sorry. You have to help settle a show debate. Is there any method to the madness with Dabo Swinney not using the transfer portal? Does he have a bigger plan, or is he being stubborn?
Well, Dabo is known to be a little hard-headed, I think, for sure. I met with him like about a year and a half ago, and I remember asking him, when are you going to dabble in this transfer portal? You got to get in there and get transfers, right? And he said, yes, at some point I will, when we have players leave the team and I have spots to fill. So he doesn't have a lot of players leave his team. And that's probably a positive for him. So I think he will give it time. He'll be in that portal.
Ross, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports, has been working on a lot of these NCAA stories and breaking a lot of this news too. So Ross, thank you for the time.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. It's wild what's going on with college athletics. I mean, this is it, guys. Like, this whole amateur model that we've been living with our whole life, it's like ending today at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
It already ended a little bit with NIL, so it's amazing how fast all this goes.
Yeah.
It's just like all of a sudden what we knew, and it doesn't even seem like a big deal. Yeah, of course we're paying players. I think NIL opened the door for that, and obviously there's such a political will. The Supreme Court and Congress have both been dunking on the NCAA.
Yep.
The fact that the NCAA has $2.1 billion sitting around, they're like,
well, 40% of it, they're like, well, they have that.
Cutbacks at the office. What does that mean? I've been to that office. That thing is gorgeous.
I know. No snacks. Maybe.
Yeah.
Can't do DoorDash 4 days a week. I have no idea what the cutbacks mean. Well, hopefully not people losing their jobs. But what's crazy about this, too, is how do they get to $20 million as the salary cap? That's just going to keep going up and up and up and up.
Sounds kind of low.
Very low.
Yeah, I'm
For
curious.
Georgia athletics, it seems a little light.
Where's the? Is there a union yet to negotiate this?
Not yet. Not yet. Coming up, the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff, the biggest sports what if and what could have been. We got a doozy for you today. Don't even think about moving.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Okay.
One show. One mission. Maggie and Perloff, coming soon to a station near you.
Andrew Perloff's got a tale to tell. Thinks he's an Aussie, but you can never tell. Tries to talk like he's from down under, but his accent's thunder. Oh, what a wonder. Andrew made you belong at the outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. Crikey says, but it sounds all wrong. Mixes kangaroos with a New York song. Crocodile Dundee would have a laugh if he heard our Andrew with his strange mishmash. Andrew made you belong at the Outback, not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G9 at the Outback Steakhouse. You'd be just right. Foster's in his hand, trying to fit in, but his mates back home just chuckle and grin. He should be slinging steaks, not slinging slang. In the kitchen's where he can really hang. Andrew made you belong at the outback. Not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G-Night. At the Outback Steakhouse, you'd be just right. So here's to Perloff, I wanna be Aussie. And mate, you belong at the Outback. Not living in the bush, but serving up a snack. Your G-Day sounds more like G-Night. At the Outback Steakhouse, you'd be just right. So here's to Perloff, I wanna be Aussie.
Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog of golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People out his voice in his ears every day. Tom Brady's glory, it's all too much. Andrew Bogusch needs a break. Bogusch has had enough of Pete. Freedom from Bilotti, that's what Bogusch needs. People he won't leave alone. His voice keeps ringing in his headphones like a drone. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. People can't you see? Bogusch trying to be free in the sea of noise. Let Bogusch find his peace. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. People
Sports Network.
Dallas Mavericks hang on. They take a 1-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals. Minnesota Timberwolves, at least their star, Anthony Edwards, seemed to run out of gas, really, at the end of the game. It was a brutal series, going 7 games against the Nuggets, and now they were feeling the effects. However, still were in position to win that game, Perloff. It was not a blowout by any means. A couple bounces here or there. Minnesota wins that game. I'm still hopeful.
Well, I mean, Luka has 2 injured knees, and he came off a really tough 6-game series. He had 1 extra day of rest, and he seemed to have plenty of energy in the fourth quarter, so I'm not buying that excuse, unless he's hurt.
Well, we're not sure. Anthony Edwards has not said anything about being hurt.
His numbers have been going down. So it's either fatigue or a small injury. He had a fall in Game 6 that people were wondering about. But he was actually, the announcers said he was grimacing in pain at one point. So maybe there's something going on here. It could be just like a rookie wall. I know he's 22, but he's not used to playing deep into May.
Yeah, had only played, I believe, something like less than 20 playoff games heading into this postseason, where Luka and Kyrie are veterans of the postseason more so than them. However, I thought it was interesting that they made such a big deal about Minnesota losing their poise, and even their own coach, Chris Finch, who I think we have the comment from Chris Finch, do we? That's what he thought the difference in the game was Minnesota lacked poise. Here's what he is.
We haven't really closed quarters very well, closed halves very well over the last handful of games. It cost us 1 game in the Denver series. And it certainly had an impact on this game tonight, too. So we got to be better in clutch moments.
I get that, but, there were a couple moments where I thought the Mavs kind of lost their composure. Fouling Mike Conley on a 3, a dangerous inbounds pass. There were, in some ways, I didn't think like the Mavs really came out and stole this game. Luka was brilliant in the fourth quarter, but there were still moments. Karl Anthony Towns hits 2 more threes and doesn't get called for a goaltending call. This is a different outcome.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just missing shots.
I don't know. I mean, the T-Wolves, they had so many points where they could have taken the game. You don't let up a 13-0 run if you're a real contender. I mean, there's got to be a stopper on offense, and that was supposed to be Anthony Edwards, but he was so ineffective in half court. I mean, it seems like the only way he can score is if things break down in transition. Doesn't seem like he can get anything inside. Remember when he would drive to the basket and score on Denver's big men? Like, that seems impossible right now.
He was not going downhill. He even said it, and he acknowledged even after the game, Anthony Edwards saying that he was just a step slow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, y'all can see it was a step behind everybody, especially myself. Kyrie got a transition layup from, I think we scored, and he just outran me, and I was just exhausted, man. So, yeah, for sure. But we'll be all right.
And Kyrie was also fantastic, especially in the first half. He was phenomenal, 24 points in the first half. And Kyrie Irving, again, we should do this as like a great debate or something one day, the best wingman in the NBA, because if you're talking about Scottie Pippen and guys like that, I think Kyrie is right there as one of the best wingmen. He's not great as the alpha. That's where things tend to break down a little bit. But as a wingman in a playoff series, Kyrie is amazing.
Better than like Clay?
Clay would be up there too.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen and Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson are three completely
Well, because
different.
Kyrie doesn't play defense.
Kyrie's not really he's a wingman, but I feel like a wingman is a 6'4" guy who just spots up at the 3-point line. Kyrie's got the ball in his hand.
I meant like a Robin.
Yeah, like a Robin.
Not like playing on the perimeter. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Second banana.
I know, but it feels like, it just feels like all wingmen are clear. Like Scottie Pippen was a clear second banana, where Kyrie is just different.
Well, I get what you're saying. Usually the second fiddle person is also a great defender, so they can take some of the burden away from the star.
Or he's playing off the first guy.
Yeah.
It's sort of they alternate being the star because, I don't feel like, maybe I'm wrong about it, like it doesn't like Luka's not feeding Kyrie. Kyrie is generating the offense himself. So he's a second alpha on that team in a way, which is a problem. But I think the big problem is Luka. Just triple team that dude. I mean, at the end of the game, you can see Luka just was like, I own you, Jaden McDaniels. He just took his heart out of his jersey and showed it to him. So nothing you can do about that.
Here is Luka on needing to take over the game in the fourth quarter.
I just said to myself, we got to win this game. I got to be way better because 3 quarters I didn't play good. So I just came in the fourth, get to my spot, and led the team to win.
Gotta be honest, it's your night when Luka's also breaking up like lob passes from Connolly inside, and he's coming up with big defensive rebounds. I mean, he was hustling out there in the fourth.
No, what scared me was a couple times Anthony Edwards was on Luka. That was not a matchup. I mean, that was problems. Like he just pushed Anthony Edwards right down in the hole, got an N1. Anthony can't cover him. I don't know who can cover him right now.
Well, he's so strong, and Jaden McDaniels tried. I do think it's a lot of the fatigue for Edwards. I'm just going to choose to believe him here. And a 22-year-old, I think, is going to find his legs again.
Yeah, there's a matter of confidence, though. I just think that I'm not sure. I could see the T-Wolves' confidence go away.
They just beat the Nuggets. There should be nothing more confident than that. You beat the Nuggets in a Game 7 on their home floor when the Nuggets were fully healthy. I mean, I know Jamal Murray was a little banged up, but they beat a fully constituted Nuggets team on their home floor in a Game 7. How do you not have confidence through the yin-yang?
I don't know. I just feel like come fourth quarter, Jaden McDaniels knew he was not going to stop Luka. I felt like, Luka, because Luka and Kyrie have been at this level before. That's the thing, especially Kyrie. Like, I think that experience matters.
You are welcome to weigh in, 855-212-4227. And can Minnesota rebound here to even this series? That game is on Friday. Okay, on Thursdays at this time, we do a little something called the Multiverse.
Exploring sports' biggest what-ifs and could-have-beens. Let's dive into the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff.
All right, guys. Today we are imagining an alternate universe where Kobe Bryant has 6 titles. 6 titles. Not that hard to imagine, quite frankly. If the Lakers had won the title in the 2007-2008 season, which was against the Boston Celtics after the Celtics acquired Kevin Garnett. There you go. That's the 6th title. I mean, he lost in other finals too, but this is kind of an easy one. It would have been 3 with Shaq and then another 3 post-Shaq, 2 obviously with Pau Gasol, and let's just say it could have been 3 with Gasol. Well, however you want to imagine this. Kobe Bryant in this alternate universe has 6 titles. Do you think, Perloff, if he has 6 titles, he is considered the GOAT? Is he considered the greatest of all time, not Michael Jordan?
No way. I don't even think he breaks in the top 3.
So the rings would have nothing to do with this conversation.
He has 5 rings now, and he's not in the top 3. Like, what difference with one more ring that he needs help to get? The issue with Kobe is Kobe wasn't a singular force like Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Those guys are just like everything revolves around them. Kobe had a partner in Shaq, and then it was more him in the second run, but did get a lot of help from Pau Gasol. Now, I know all great players get help, but it just feels like there's something way different about Michael Jordan and LeBron James than Kobe Bryant. Those guys, and you just see it in the MVPs. Obviously, Kobe only won 1 MVP. Jordan
should have had 2.
Jordan had 5, should have had 10. Right. And LeBron had 4, should have had 6, 8. I don't even know. Maybe even 2 years ago should have won the MVP and did not win it. So honestly, like those guys are way more singular forces than Kobe. And I think that's why if you read any list of all-time great players, Kobe's not in the top 5, despite having 5 rings. He's already got 5, and you're saying he's got to pass Magic Johnson, he's got to pass Bird, he's got to pass Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain. I'm not sure a 6th ring has a major impact on all that. Maybe gets a higher on the list, but LeBron and Jordan, no way.
Okay, so we're doing the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff. We reimagine things in sports. Today we're asking if Kobe Bryant had 6 rings instead of 5, is he more in the GOAT conversation or is he considered the GOAT? And I think he gets a lot closer. And I think there would be Kobe people and Jordan people. Like there are Jordan people and LeBron people right now as far as who's the best. And here's a couple reasons why. There is a mythology that's around Michael Jordan that also exists around Kobe Bryant, which is the Mamba mentality. And there is something that, Jordan brand and Nike made him this larger than life thing. I think that Kobe, the Mamba mentality and all that does sort of make him this folk hero that where his story with 6 is maybe just as good as Michael's story, something like that. I think that also Kobe would get credit for how hard and maniacal of a worker he is. Jordan was maniacal about winning, but Jordan was also on the golf course playing 18 holes before a game. It was almost like a marvel that he could be in an Atlantic City casino until 3 o'clock in the morning and then go beat the Knicks the next day. That's like crazy. I think Kobe would get a lot of credit for his work ethic. I think people would say it's harder to do it in this era because it's all 7-game series in the playoffs as opposed to Jordan early in his career only had best of 5s. And I also think that if we're reimagining this world where Kobe Bryant has 6 titles and is he considered the GOAT now, I think beating the Celtics multiple times, considering what that Lakers-Celtics rivalry not just means to those teams but the NBA, I think that helps him as well. I think just by virtue of the opponent would also help Kobe in this discussion.
Honestly, I think you just hit on something.
What's up?
What kills Kobe in this discussion is the opponents. I mean, look at that list of Eastern Conference scrubs they took out. It was bad.
Right.
You have to admit, like that is, and all
the Magic, the Nets.
There's 2 things that hurt them:
your Sixers,
the lack of rivals, and the fact that he had Shaq next to him. I think those are the 2 things that ultimately hurt him. Think of Magic and Bird; they had each other.
Yeah,
like that elevated them. Jordan beat just a list of Hall of Famers. Like he took down Barkley, he took down Karl Malone, he took down Magic, he took down everybody. So. I just think the other thing, too, is that Kobe was just not as good a player. I'm just going to put that out there. He's a 44% shooter where LeBron and MJ both have hovered around 50% their whole career. You just eyeball it. I mean, he's not Jordan, and he's not LeBron.
So here's the thing about Kobe and the opponents that he beat, I'll grant you, but he also did beat the Celtics, who did have multiple Hall of Famers when you're talking about Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and all that. So he did. It's not like he took down a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah, but I mean, there's definitely some nobodies in that list.
Well, but he also had to get through a Western Conference that was a lot. That was, I would say, I can't say it was harder than Jordan's, but that Western Conference was filled with teams who are winning 50 games a year.
What about the lack of MVPs? The fact that the numbers are so much better for LeBron and Jordan. How do you get over that?
I think that Kobe was definitely on his way to more MVPs, and quite frankly, I know people don't like to talk about it, especially now that he's passed away. But I think Colorado had a lot to do with it. I think that Colorado and what happened in that hotel room or whatever, and the trial, all of that stuff, which was very distasteful, I think turned people off. He probably should have won one that Steve Nash got. And I also think the injuries hurt him too. And LeBron and Jordan have just been so durable, and Kobe is not as durable.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of if. This is getting very multiverse-ish. What if there was no Colorado, which was his fault?
Yep.
What if there were no injuries?
I'm not dismissing that. You're asking why he doesn't have more MVPs. I think that's part of the reason.
Why do you think, okay.
And we're doing multiverse again. This is where we reimagine something in sports. And today we're doing what if Kobe had 6 rings and he just beat the Celtics in 2008. 2007, 2008. If he had just won that final, would he be considered the GOAT?
Right. So, question. He has 5 rings.
Yeah.
And yet, I looked at a bunch of lists.
Yeah.
He's just not in that.
He's not even the greatest Laker. I grant you this. I know.
So like, why would that 6 ring, which you in your model he needed help to win anyway?
Right.
Why would that 6 ring make such a huge difference? Like, because it's really not about the rings. Obviously, a lot of guys have a lot of rings, and that's
Bill Russell has more than anybody.
Bill Russell, Kareem has a lot of rings. Magic has a lot of rings. I don't think that in this is not really about the rings.
I think it is, though, because that's definitely what some people use to put Jordan as the GOAT over LeBron, and LeBron can never catch him because he doesn't have the 6 rings. I think there's a ring-chasing culture part of this. And because Kobe was almost like a facsimile of Jordan. You know, he was like doing a Jordan impersonation. So I think that's why they're so closely like linked together. And if he had the 6th ring, that they are closer than maybe you think.
See, I think LeBron people consider the rings. I don't think Jordan people care one way or the other about that. They assume, you know, the assumption is if Jordan played those other 2 years, he'd have 8 rings. If he had played,
right, but then Jordan,
if Jerry
quit
Krause
and
hadn't blown it
retired,
up,
and Kobe never would, and Kobe never did. Another thing that would make Kobe the GOAT.
But I'm just saying, if Jerry Krause hadn't blown up the team, they would have had a 9th ring. That he did 6 in 6 years. It's not about the total number of rings, because that is definitely not how we do this GOAT debate. Otherwise, Bill Russell would be far and away the GOAT, and Wilt wouldn't be anywhere near the list. And that's the other thing too. Like you're discounting the old guys too. Because Kareem's argument is pretty darn good too. That guy had 5 MVPs and a bunch of rings. And honestly, like when you think about it in history, just forget stats, forget rings, forget all this. Who is a more impactful player on the NBA? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or Kobe Bryant? Kobe Bryant was one of a universe of stars. There are singular guys like Kareem came in the NBA and like, whoa, changed everything. I don't think Kobe did that.
Okay, well, if you want to use that metric to determine who's the greatest player, then Steph Curry's the greatest player, because I would say he's had the biggest impact on the NBA more than anybody, because the shooting and how that changed everything. Him and Mike D'Antoni should be getting credit as the 2 biggest innovators in the entire league, if that's how you want to measure
Not
it.
just innovators, though, but just forces of nature. And
Same,
Kareem,
same.
But Steph had to compete with LeBron. I think, honestly, if there was no LeBron, then Steph might get into this conversation. But Steph was never like a clear-cut MVP. He won 2 MVPs. There's no way.
But if you're talking about who changed the game.
I'm not talking about chasing, like came in and was like the dominant force in the game. Like kind of like a early Shaq, like maybe Wemby will be there someday. But like Michael Jordan was the dominant force in the game. LeBron is a dominant singular force in the game. Kobe at times, maybe those second 2
rings,
last rings, the last 2 rings. But in my opinion, the NBA was a little bit down then. To me, Kobe was amazing, but he just was not singular like those guys. And that's really why he has 1 MVP. And maybe he would add 2. But like Jordan was a different thing altogether.
855-212-4227. So there you go. The multiverse of Maggie and Perloff today. We are reimagining a world where Kobe Bryant has 6 rings, and we're asking if that would make him the GOAT in the GOAT conversation, closer to Jordan, all that stuff. Adrian is in Maryland, wants to weigh in. Good morning, Adrian.
Hey, good morning, guys. Maggie, I understand where you're coming from with the 6 rings, but in the multiverse, you got to think about Jordan as not retiring. He could have had 8 rings. So
that's Kobe a future multiverse, Adrian. Don't worry, that's coming this summer.
Yeah, but Kobe probably wouldn't have caught him. And also, Jordan changed the American game, because when we lost in the Olympics and we sent them over, the whole world seen it. So that's where you put he can't.
Okay, Adrian, can I counter that? If you want to take this to the Olympic conversation, I'm so glad you did. You've played right into my hands. The Redeem Team. The Redeem Team, which was after the United States was embarrassed in 2004 in Greece, and they got the bronze medal, and then the whole like, all right, now we really got to show our force and get American basketball back on the map. It was Kobe who beat Spain. I know Dwayne Wade and LeBron were there. Kobe won that game. He won the gold medal and got the Redeem Team back and got us back on the top of the podium.
Maggie, you're saying the Redeem Team compared to the Dream Team.
Definitely. Who was under more pressure? The Redeem Team over the Dream Team for sure.
Because they lost the year before.
Yeah.
Jordan, they won. They weren't going to lose at all.
They won every game by 30. It wasn't even a contest. Kobe actually had to beat his teammate in Pau Gasol and actually to beat a good team.
We had to go over there and redeem and take back our American basketball.
Yeah, thank goodness for Kobe. Or else we wouldn't have.
No, come on, Maggie. No.
I'm telling you, Adrian.
As you said, the Redeem Team, not the Dream Team. Yeah. Redeem, because we.
Yeah,
and now
Adrian, I'm with you.
Thank you.
You redeem a coupon. You don't redeem a gold medal. Like the Redeem Team isn't a thing. I actually, until that documentary came out, I'm like, hey, which Olympics was that? I kind of barely remember.
Well, it was in China, so it was happening in the middle of the night. And
the Dream Team was the Dream Team. The redeemed team is not the same.
I got one more for you guys in the future in your multiverse. Dallas Cowboys. How many Super Bowls would they have won if Jimmy Johnson never lost?
Thank you.
We're doing it.
It's coming,
It's
Adrian.
on
Don't
the
take my
list,
job here,
Adrian.
okay?
Are you
It's
in our
coming.
production meeting? I love it. Adrian, you're the best. Thank you so much for that. Bill's in California. Bill, you want to weigh in on our multiverse? We reimagine things in sports every Thursday at this time. What if Kobe had 6 rings? Would he be considered the GOAT? Go ahead.
Hey, Perloff, on your redemption travels to go see Wemby to apologize, you're gonna have to continue. You're gonna have to continue and go to Kobe's gravesite to apologize to him for the lack of what you're doing, because Kobe is the number 3 all time. LeBron is lucky if he's a 5 or a 6.
Wow.
LeBron doesn't touch Kobe. You got your top 3 are going to be Michael, Magic, Magic, and then Kobe.
What about, you're obviously California, but what about Kareem?
Kareem's in there too, but I just gave you the top 3, and then you can go Kareem, Steph Curry, and then maybe LeBron. I mean, it's just LeBron is a self-promoter. He's a female dog. That's what there is to it. I mean, I don't know.
He's a great player, though, Bill. You just might not like his style, but he's a great player.
No, he's on Broadway. He acts out there more than he plays ball. He throws the ball up more than anybody in the league. That's why he's got as much in points. And he can't figure out what team he wants to play for. I mean, look at these other people. They basically played for the same team the whole time and won all their rings with the same team.
Yeah, but if LeBron had gotten a chance to start with the Lakers, maybe he never leaves the Lakers. I mean, he started with the Cavs, and they couldn't put a great team around him, and he still dragged that sorry team to a final.
He started with the team he wanted because that's his hometown team, and he was going to bring accolades to that hometown team.
And he did.
He didn't do it.
No, he did.
Well, not until later.
Not until later. But again, did he want to go to Cleveland? I'm sure he probably did. But if he had gotten drafted by the Lakers first overall, then maybe he's a Laker forever, just like Kobe was. And by the way, Kobe manipulated his way to the Lakers too. LeBron never tried to pull the power play. Bill, thank you so much for the call.
Yeah, but LeBron couldn't have been there with Kobe.
No, he would have. I'm just saying that.
So he couldn't really start. He would have said no to the Lakers anyway. But it's a good point.
Like if he had gotten drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, whoever, right? Like a team that was more associated with winning than the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, but systematically, he was going to go to the worst. He was obviously going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Obviously.
So he wasn't going to go to the Spurs.
But he could have pulled a power play like Kobe did. Kobe wasn't the number 1 pick, but he told his agent, I am not playing for the New Jersey Nets coached by John Calipari.
Yeah, but he could have said send me to Detroit.
He could not have.
They were number 2 pick that year. They were a great team.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know if LeBron could have done that power play because Kobe was a skinny kid out of my alma mater, Lower Merion High School. I think teams would have drafted LeBron anyways. Be like, he was so single. Like, there's no way he could have. I'm just saying he wasn't in a position to really get anywhere else because the Cavs would have easily drafted him and let him sit there for 2 years. There's no way they were passing him for Darko Milicic.
I guess my thing is, or Carmelo, but I'm just saying I don't think that can be a knock against LeBron that he changed teams because he had
I agree with that.
He had no say over where he got it drafted unless he wanted to, like Kobe.
But he didn't have to join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
Okay, well, that was unpopular, but he said he had just dragged a bunch of no-name guys, no offense to Drew Nogowskis, to the finals to get swept by San Antonio, and he said, I don't want to be 30 years old with no rings and bad knees. Like, I get it. All right, we got to take a quick break. So this is the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff. We reimagine things in sports. Today we are reimagining the career of Kobe Bryant. What if he had 6 rings instead of 5? If he beats the Celtics in 2007, 2008, that would make 3 with Shaq and then another 3 post-Shaq. Is he considered the greatest of all time? Maybe not Michael Jordan or not LeBron James. Maggie Perloff, don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Scrolling through the sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Delta 9 Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Got his fingers moving, stepping non-stop. Dropping all the knowledge, never gonna flop. Talking about Ryan, he's the king of the chat. With his love for the show, there ain't no doubt. Every episode, he's always in the mix. Leaving comments for the host, he's got the tricks. Talking about Ryan, he's a YouTube star. With his quick comments, he'll take it far. I've been sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the room. Some of you are in the chat, his name's Delton, not Ryan. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Every episode, he's always in the mix. Leaving comments for the host, he's got the tricks. Talking about Ryan, he's a YouTube star. With his quick comments, he'll sitting in my room, living life in 20-second views. Scrolling through, he's got no time to lose. Maggie and Perloff, Daly's keeping score. YouTube's his love. He's begging for more. Double tap, clicking on that video. From sunrise to sunset, he never lets it go. Maggie snappy, Perloff's got a glow. Daly's hooked, he's looking for the show. Chasing trends, Daly's on a quest. Comments pouring in, he's one of the best. From every corner of the internet's reach. Daly's voice. Ready to preach. Reach it to preach. Living life in 20s.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Multiverse of Maggie and Perloff is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Today we're debating, what if Kobe Bryant had won a 6th ring? He won 5, came pretty darn close to winning a 6th in that sort of second championship era with the Lakers. If he had won 6, would he be in the GOAT conversation with LeBron James and Michael Jordan? I say no. Maggie says...
I say yeah. I think he is remembered as one of the GOATs. It's just one more ring, but the significance of it would be massive. Juan is in Ohio, has a thought for us. Good morning, Juan.
Oh, hello.
Hello. You're up.
Okay, I was trying to put my baby in the car seat too at the same time.
Got it. That's
But,
way more important than us and talking about
yeah.
Kobe. Make sure that car seat's tight.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on her mama to come out the door real quick. But I love y'all's show, first off. You know what I'm saying? I listen to y'all every morning on my way taking the baby to work and everything. But y'all done made me upset this morning. Well, not you. Not you. He did. Now, how you cannot say Kobe ain't one of the greatest, man? Come on.
One of the
At one point
greatest.
in time, yes, because they don't never mention Kobe when they talk about the great. They be it's either Michael Jordan or LeBron. They never say Kobe. Kobe was in the West at a point in time when the West was the best conference in the league. You know what I'm saying? Anybody in the West could have won the finals back then. Tim Duncan was doing his thing. The Spurs was nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had to go to the Spurs. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean,
Dirk Nowitzki playing the Mavericks. I mean, he had to do a lot.
oh, come on.
The Portland
Come on.
Jailbreakers. Remember the Portland Jailbreakers? Portland was good.
This was Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic were getting through the league before the salary cap was fully developed. Like, there was Hall of Famers all over the place.
Okay, y'all said this multiverse thing too, right? Okay, think about this. Think about if Jerry Krause wouldn't have never blew up the Chicago Bulls. Think about the Chicago Bulls would have been the ones that with Scottie Pippen and Rodman and all of them having to play in them 90 tournaments and them 90. You understand? It wouldn't have been the Knicks and Tim Duncan. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. The strike year. Absolutely.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No. Once you get into what ifs, you go down a lot of roads.
And Tim Duncan got his first ring by beating the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? That probably would have never happened. Y'all talk about this multiverse. That would have never happened. You know what I'm saying? What if Michael Jordan would have never went to the Wizards? He just stayed on the Bulls the whole time.
I love it. Everyone's producing the show today. EJ, are we taking notes here? We got all these great ideas for multiverse. Some of these we've already had. Juan, you're great. Thanks so much. And
you made me think of that.
Get to work safely with the baby.
GOAT, the term GOAT.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Greatest of all time. Why are we doing this GOATs? He's in the GOATs conversation. This annoys me anyway. We're talking about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So, yes, are you trying to argue? People seem to be arguing, yes, that Kobe deserves some recognition as a top whatever player, but he's not the GOAT.
He's not, but I do wonder what that sixth ring would have done, because there is a ring culture in the NBA, and even you will say it sometimes about MVPs. Like, you root for the Sixers, Joel Embiid. You could care less about his MVPs, and you think it's all about titles. And I think that's what the NBA has become. And so getting a sixth, I think, really does mean something.
But he has 5, and he's below a lot of guys who have less than that. Magic and Bird don't have 5, and actually maybe Magic. How many Magic?
Magic does.
Magic has 5.
But Bird has less, and honestly, Bird was a better player. Bird was unstoppable. Look at Bird's stats in the league. I mean, until his back injury, he was first or second in MVP every year.
I know, but people would say until Magic's HIV diagnosis, I mean, he also got robbed of years at the end of his career. And I think that Kobe, or in the middle of his career, I think Kobe beating the Celtics again, this is the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff, where we reimagine things. We're saying, what if Kobe had won 6 rings? If one of those is the loss to the Celtics in 07-08, that means he beats the Celtics another time. That's the historic rivalry. That is Magic Bird you're talking about. And I think that
you're saying that Celtics team, that was the 80s Celtics, the Pierce.
How many Hall of Famers are on there?
I mean, that 80s Celtics had a 9-year run of
Pierce,
dominance.
And Garnett.
That's Larry Bird and McHale and all those guys? I don't think so.
It's the closest thing they came to.
That first year,
that team won dominant. 1 title. That's not even a great championship
went to another
team.
finals.
Well, they got old. They got injured.
Yeah, they were just, and also they weren't that great. They were not that great.
They got injured, bro.
That core is that's not one of the all-time great championship teams.
KG got hurt the next year, and then the year after that,
he got old.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the year when they were healthy and together, they were a juggernaut.
They were a really good team, but they're one of many one-off champions in the history of the NBA. They were not the 1980s Celtics.
They won 66 games that year, Pearl. I think you're underestimating how good that team was.
Oh, you think they're in the conversation with Bird, McHale, Parrish?
That team was dominant, Pearl. They were. They were a dominant team first year they came together. They ran roughshod through the NBA. The Kobe Bryant Lakers were the only team that gave them a chance. Gave them any kind of competition.
They are the ones who really sent LeBron to Miami.
Right.
I mean, they just kept beating LeBron, and he was like, finally, like, I can't beat these guys. I've got to come up with my own thing. Okay.
You guys are stuck in your own age. This is a 1980s Celtics. This is an iconic team in the history of the NBA. The 08 Celtics won one ring. They're like basically the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis.
Okay. So that's the multiverse today. If Kobe, if he had won 6 rings, is he in the GOAT conversation with Jordan? It's funny, other people putting LeBron in that conversation. So I thought we were just doing Jordan.
Too.
But there we go.
LeBron that's the only debate. LeBron versus Jordan. There's no Jordan versus anyone else.
And it is a debate. Andrew Pagouche is here. He's got some headlines for us. A lot happened last night.
Good morning, everybody. The Oni Bows of the WNBA did not do Caitlin Clark and the Fever any favors with the start of this WNBA schedule.
It's Ani, not
whatever.
Oni.
Their first 4 games were against the Liberty and Sun, 2 of the best teams in the league. Last night's opponent, the Storm, not on that level, but the Fever had to go to Seattle after playing at home Monday night. Clark posting 21.7 rebounds, 7 assists, but it wasn't enough for win number 1, 85-83, the final.
You're never happy to lose. Like, it's not fun, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I think there's just a lot of things to build on it. And, that's what I'm trying to just be as positive as possible, continue to learn, continue to stack days. And I know our first win will be right around the corner.
So the Fever now 0-5. They play in L.A. tomorrow night, then Vegas on Saturday.
Oh, gosh.
Mm-hmm. Toronto
That's not going to get easier.
Is official. How about some off days? Toronto is officially getting
those nice planes now.
14th WNBA franchise starting play in 2026. It'll be the first team located outside the U.S. And Larry Tannenbaum, who runs the company, paying $50 million for the team, says they'll play some of their games in Montreal and Vancouver as well as Toronto.
Wonder if they'll see Gordon up there.
As for the boys, Kyrie and Luka combined for 63 points. Their Mavs made a late surge to steal Game 1 of the Western Conference Final in Minnesota, 108-105. T-Wolves head coach Chris Finch says his guys left Dallas off the hook.
Terrible offense down the stretch. Bad shots, turnovers, no composure.
And subpar games from Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns.
Chris Finch coaches the T-Wolves.
Edwards scored just 19, only 16 from Cat. They were a combined 12 for 36 from the floor. Game 2 in Minneapolis tomorrow night. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of 5 voted first team All-NBA yesterday. He is now eligible for his own 4-year, $294 million Supermax extension next year. It would attach to the end of his current deal running through the 30-31 season. And in that 30-31 season, SGA would make $81.4 million, the first player to eclipse $80 million for a season.
Now, I don't know much about about Oklahoma City's like real estate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's some beautiful homes and things like that. They have to be gorgeous. I know there's a lot of money in Oklahoma, but what could you buy for $80 million?
Also, too, if you're thinking the first $80 million athlete, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would not have been the name to jump to.
The highest paid player in the league right now is Jaylen Brown, and that's not exactly the first person I think of either.
Because it's like the NFL quarterback thing.
Yeah,
Everybody just
it's
gets
next
one
guy.
more dollar. And in the NBA, this is all math. Like that's based off a percentage of the salary cap. So he's just the first one to get to that number.
The younger you are, the better you're going to get more money.
Right.
It's just simple.
So, Maggie, I know, while you're on Zillow looking at Oklahoma City,
I am. They're beautiful.
I'm curious. Everyone always gets mad when the All-NBA teams come out. Who are people mad about right now? What's the big mad thing out there?
I don't know.
I think Brunson.
Brunson?
The Brunson
Yeah.
snub?
It's just a weird, he's 5th in MVP, but 6th technically in this.
Right.
How does that happen?
And I think people thought LeBron should be on the second team over Kawhi and
Yes.
KD.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Hey, wait, what did Halliburton make a team?
Third team.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's in the conference finals. He seems to have solidified that.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're not a fan of him.
No.
I enjoy watching him play. I don't think he's better than Jalen Brunson and should be on the Olympic team.
That I agree with. No fight for me here.
All right,
Turn
I'm
my mic
looking
off.
at something 14200 Gaillardia Lane, Oklahoma City, 6.4 mil. According to this, it looks beautiful, palatial. It's got 5 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms.
What would that get in Brooklyn, where I live? That would get you a 3-bedroom, $6.4 million.
You should move to Oklahoma City.
I saw, by the way, all that
It's like
Shohei
a
bought
hotel room in Brooklyn.
Do you guys see Shohei bought a house near Dodger Stadium? Anyone see that story?
No.
He bought Adam Carolla's old house. $7.4 million
Yeah.
in L.A. That's all Shohei can afford?
When is casino night?
I watch all these real estate
He's only
shows.
making $1 million a year. Don't forget.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
His
but that is
salary's
like
deferred.
that is a very modest place for Shohei. 7.4 in L.A. That's,
Probably a second house though too.
What do you think his house in Japan looks
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I have no idea.
The one in LA will probably be a sports book.
Well, I was just wondering, does he only have $7 million to spend because he used a lot of that gambling? No, I'm just sorry. But
He's actually in the hole.
Right. And I'm just complaining because $6 million will get you nothing in
That's a
Brooklyn.
long-
Nothing. Will get you zero.
He probably has a second house in Anaheim too.
I love this. How you see the top-down view of this mansion that Shohei bought,
Yeah.
and is that a trampoline? It's
Yeah,
like the
next to the
biggest
pool.
trampoline I've ever seen.
I spent about 20 minutes looking at that trampoline.
Is it a
trying to blow-
helicopter pad or a trampoline?
It's Adam Carolla's old house. It has a modern exterior, but it has mid-century interiors.
I don't know what that means.
And so it's like wood inside, and it looks like Frank Lloyd Wright on the outside. It's
Cool.
a pretty sick house. But $7 million in that
I
neighborhood?
mean, I'm looking at this. He got a bargain. It looks like this house looks baller.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
How about this? It's still 20-minute commute, which is nothing. I'd love a 20-minute commute, but it's
I
not like
watch-
it's right down the street. You can't
So
walk to work.
I watched a show called Selling the OC on Netflix. Anyone in on that? Anyone? I know Bilotti probably.
I am, yes.
The average house is $35 million in these neighborhoods.
But maybe they're just doing that for the show.
They look like they're ridiculous.
Mm.
Yeah, it could be. You don't think that they're insane though? They're the spreads. I thought Shohei should roll like that.
I mean, I assume it's the neighborhood he's living in is not as appealing in Southern California. Like it's not Hidden Hills. It's not wherever Kim Kardashian lives. That's a big one. I forgot the name of
Calabasas.
it. Calabasas,
Can't
where
believe I know
Jay-Z
that.
and all them live there.
There's an amazing taco place right near Chavez Ravine though. That's
Your
where-
whole life is
Yeah.
just navigated from one taco joint to the next.
Guisados. It's
Oh,
very.
you and I ate there.
Yeah.
In LA.
We did go to the one that the original is by Dodger
I might have went
Stadium.
there.
It's possible.
There's
famous,
5 or
right?
6 of them now, but the one by Chavez Ravine is insane. So I think that's why Shohei's there.
This is just Perloff wandering around life, just looking for another great taco.
Yeah, basically. What else is there to do? What's the point of living?
Yeah, this neighborhood is like north of like Pasadena and Glendale. Yeah, I could see why it's only $7 million.
Can we rewind to the fact that Adam Carolla in 2018 had $7.3 million to buy this house? Like I know he's successful, but where's that money coming from?
Podcast.
It's that man show money.
No, it's a podcast. His podcast is
Yeah, it's
tons
huge.
of money.
Yeah, but like how much? I'm just a completely ignorant question. I have no idea. Like it's like 9 figures
Honestly,
podcast
like
deal.
I think. Well, I mean, Joe Rogan's getting like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander money.
Kind of. Bill Simmons.
Like,
Call
yeah.
her daddy.
Part of my take makes $50,000 an episode. I have no idea.
Well,
And all
Shohei
those
bought this house for $7 million. It doesn't mean that
No,
Adam.
right.
right?
This says
stand up.
Corolla bought it for $7.3 million in 2018.
Oh, that I didn't see. That's crazy. I don't know how. he
You're
had
right
that
about
money.
Shohei getting a bargain, though, EJ, because it listed the house last summer for $8.99 and then cut the price tag to $8.35. And maybe Shohei's this great negotiator, got it for $7.85.
Yeah, I disagree with Bogus Show. I'm not surprised at all that Adam Carolla has that money.
If you go back too, I mean, he had that show with Dr. Drew.
Oh, Love
Yeah,
Line.
yeah. He's had a lot of outlets.
Every single Loveline episode had like basically the same 2 questions.
Yeah.
It was like, what's my STD?
Right. What does this itch mean?
Yeah, it's like something, it's an open sore and it burns. That's
Do I call a doctor?
it doesn't take Dr. Drew to figure that one out.
Dr. Drew's ability to have a straight face made him a lot of money, right?
Definitely.
Because I would not have been able to hold it together.
And then the other thing is some version of I like them, they don't like me, they like them, they don't like me. And he's like, what was your parents? How'd your parents treat you? That was always the thing. What was your relationship like with your mother? It was always the first question.
There were a bunch of experiment questions I remember hearing on that show.
What type? Oh, a sexual experiment?
Yes.
Interesting.
Oh, boy. Things
Easy,
getting
Pete.
stuck
Yeah,
places.
Like, what, like MK Ultra? Like, what are we talking about?
One thing, we do not really want to get into any beef with Adam Carolla.
Why?
He's in some vicious social media beefs, and he does not hold back.
Oh, I've interviewed him before. He was great.
Yeah, just don't cross him on.
Well, he's a professional comedian. Anyone who dares to get into these online tiffs or anything with professional comedians, you are just writing your own eulogy.
Yeah, you do not do it.
They're pros for a reason, as Tom Brady found out in the roast,
There you
and
go.
Giselle. I don't think we left any more time. Got anything else to squeak in?
No, that's fine.
The Rangers lost. There you go.
And
Back to
Alexi
you.
Lafreniere own goal? No?
I mean, that was in this script. We'll do it next hour.
We'll get to that because I have a question off of that own goal that I want to ask you guys. Thank you, Bogish. Coming up, More real estate, no. Coming up, Lamar Jackson explains his weight loss, and we've got that and more NFL news for you as well.
You're in a 5-minute break.